air duct cleaning with zero res, and then they'll add in a free service from Unload. Call for details, 801-288-9376. I'm Andy Farnsworth in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll be seeing some more rain showers today with winds up to 20 miles an hour. Temperatures will reach, though, a high of 87 degrees. Clouds have really rolled into the Salt Lake Valley in the last half hour, so temperature's not bad, though, 71 degrees at KSL News Radio. 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. This is Utah's all-day companion for news.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
One of the many big stories that we're following today, former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie expected to announce that he will be running for the GOP nomination for President of the United States.
Running against the frontrunner, Donald Trump. Remember, he was Trump's transition guy. He was the one that was lining up all the positions in the cabinet spots for President Trump when he first took office. President Trump looked at his list, hated it, essentially fired Christie, didn't use any of his recommendations, and they have been angry with each other ever since. So it will be very, very interesting to see if there are any support whatsoever from the GOP base for Chris Christie. I don't think so. It's 9:08. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are three things Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
I heard this all over Utah's morning news this morning. We are going to talk about it today. Prosecutors in California threatening kidnapping charges as political leaders from other states are flying migrants to California. Is this actually kidnapping? We're going to ask former U.S. Attorney for Utah, John Huber, who prosecuted kidnappings in Utah in the 11 o'clock hour, what the law actually says about this and if California prosecutors, from his point of view, have grounds for a criminal case.
This seems, and I'm not the lawyer, I'm not the prosecutor, this seems crazy. Like, this isn't kidnapping. We are in a terrible situation where everybody shows up in a few small border towns. They are completely and totally overrun. They don't have the resources for this. So they're saying, hey, the rest of the
California that
country
already gets migrants has its own immigration issue on its hands. I mean, they're on the border too, right there.
Yeah.
El Centro, California. I worked there, not too far from Calexico in Mexico. Dave.
Yeah, it's a fraction. It's a fraction of what is happening across the entire state. So, yeah, sure, it should be California, it should be Utah, it should be Washington. Everybody has got to address this. We just can't leave it to these small border towns.
Countdown. 2.
Don't drive angry. That is the message this morning from an innocent man's family. He and his girlfriend swept up in that mangled mess of a car wreck in Utah County over the weekend. You know, police have pointed to road rage that the couple had absolutely no part of. They're just innocent, and their cars wiped out, and they're both killed. And no sooner did his family say that than police in northern Utah on the scene of a shooting. Bullets that went into a car.
What appeared to be a firearm and shot multiple rounds at a silver passenger car.
There's been a lot of research done into road rage, Debbie. And before we get too angry with these road ragers, look at yourself. In these studies, 80% of folks in these surveys from the National Transportation Board, they said they have exhibited some sort of misbehavior. You know, you're cutting somebody off, you're speeding up so they can't merge over. We've all done this. Now, that means you are one step away from escalating things. It's a very, very dangerous situation. But I think on some level, we are all guilty of road rage.
Launch. Countdown. 1.
The mayor of Sandy, Monica Zoltansky, boldly proposing a more than 30% property tax hike for homeowners and for business owners. Says the city needs, for example, new headquarters for its fire department, needs to update its aging vehicle fleet, needs to boost salaries of employees to stop getting workers poached by other cities.
Sandy should definitely be competitive with what our sister cities are paying. They're the backbone of every operation. Every time you turn around, you need a city engineer, a city attorney, a city planner, a police officer, a firefighter, a Parks and Rec team, someone to open up Alta Canyon Rec Center, someone to turn on the splash pads.
She makes a compelling argument. I don't blame Mayor Z as much as I do every other mayor and city council leading up to this point. When you have to increase something 32% in 1 year, that's not just a failure in 1 year. That is decades in the making.
Dave and Dujanovic.
The Launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
And for our top local story, we go straight to Sandy City Hall, where there is a proposal underway right now to increase property taxes some 32%.
Yes, take a deep breath. The 32 tax increase, check your pulse. I want to make sure you're still sitting upright in your chair, and I'm here to explain what that really means in dollars and cents and services to our residents.
That was Mayor Z joining KSL at night, Greg Skordas and Taylor Morgan. But yeah, that is a shock. You do have to try to keep yourself in your seat because you do want to fall out when you see 32%.
If you're a resident of Sandy, it sounds like your mayor and your council is on board.
This budget is investing in our most valuable asset of our city, our people, overall city compensation, and our new firefighters.
Now, the average home in Sandy is worth $628,000.
Wow.
I mean, it's a very affluent part of Salt Lake, right? According to the mayor, the taxes collected on those homes, even though they've just skyrocketed over the last several years, those taxes haven't changed. In the last 4 or 5 years, they have not changed.
I thought they had a property tax increase or talked about one just a few years ago.
Back in 2019, they had kind of a similar thing. They wanted to raise it about 34%. I think they settled on 22%. But here's the problem I have with these huge jumps. If you're a homeowner, you haven't realized any of those gains. If you bought your home at $160,000 or $300,000 or $400,000, even though your home is worth $630,000 now, well, you haven't experienced any of those gains. You haven't collected any on this. So when you have to keep paying more and more money, that's devastating.
Okay. So time out a minute. More and more and more and more money. The way they broke it down, City Hall breaks it down, is it's a extra $9 a month on the average home. A $628,000 home, an extra $9 a month to get improved vehicle fleet, which, you don't want your police cars breaking down on the way to the scene. To get a new headquarters for their fire department, which also houses some of their engine trucks. So it's not just like new office space for administrators. This thing is multifaceted. So those are just a couple of things. For $9 more a month, you have a problem with that?
This is the spin. This is the spin because every time, Debbie, I'm telling you, you look at anything over the last 10 years in your city and look at what has happened over those 10 years and what your property taxes. Mine have doubled. My property taxes yearly have doubled. It
costs money to live in a city.
It has not doubled. My salary hasn't doubled. The worth of my home. Okay,
but
let me finish here, please.
But employees are costing the city more too, Dave.
I get everything costs more. I understand that. But the fact is, my home that I purchased, I haven't realized any of those gains. I'm not making any more money, but you double my property taxes over that time, and I'm just taking it in the teeth. And it's going to go higher and higher over as long as I own that house.
Well, let's get Mayor Z on the line to defend it. She's calling the show in just a few minutes. Sandy City Mayor Monica Zoltansky in just a moment.
Dave and Dujanovic. Hey, stay right here for more of Dave and Dujanovic.
And tomorrow morning, come back here for news, traffic updates, and reliable weather.
Join us to have a listen. Tim and Amanda.
Your morning companions for news.
right on cue for summer.
OPEC plans to cut oil production.
Gas prices are headed up.
It could drive up prices for other goods.
Whether you're planning a staycation or a day trip, start your summer here. Get updates on traffic out of town, gas prices, and everything you need to know. Listen each day this summer, mornings and afternoons, to KSL News Radio.
Experience the rail journey of a lifetime and see the Southwest like never before on board Rocky Mountaineer's Rockies to the Red Rocks route. You'll take in vast canyons and breathtaking mountains between Moab and Denver. You'll enjoy world-class all-inclusive food and beverage service on board a glass-dome train with a view unimaginable. You'll stay one night in historic Glenwood Springs, Colorado, and look forward to the next day's adventure winding along towering canyons, breathtaking plains, and magnificent mountains. You'll ride the rails through Ruby Canyon and admire the scenery through oversized windows, a view you'd never see from a car. Rocky Mountaineer is truly a once-in-a-lifetime experience, and they've extended their latest offer till June 30th. Save up to $1,000 per couple. And as a Utah local, you can save an extra $100 per person. Seats are limited. Visit RockyMountaineer.com before June 30th to book your luxurious, exciting adventure right now. That's RockyMountaineer.com.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go, shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hey, Jake, can you finish that induction range installation tomorrow?
Orders have really amped up at Nate's Electric.
We need to finish installing it first in Maine. Did we hear back from the grocery chain?
It's no shock he needs electricians, like yesterday.
Smart fridge. Everybody wants one of those these days.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
When interest rates rise, it's not all bad. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, helping you understand why now is the time to purchase an annuity. Annuities are the only products that will guarantee you an income you can't outlive. It's those guarantees that are tied to Treasury rates. And as we know, those rates are at 40-year highs. If you're in or within 10 years of retirement, use this to your advantage. This is exactly why it's possible to receive up to a 25% upfront bonus for income, and why it is possible to receive up to 10% per year for income growth. It's because of the high interest rates. Don't let anyone tell you it's not true, but also don't wait. Interest rates and these guarantees will eventually come down. Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600. Or visit TrajanWealth.com.
Guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company.
With the economy the way it is, you're probably staying put. So invest in your home, your number one asset, with beautiful custom replacement windows from Advanced Window Products. They're a local Utah company building beautiful vinyl framed and insulated double pane windows for 37 years right here in Salt Lake City. Advanced Window Products will save you money on your energy bill. Get security features to keep your family safe. In an Advanced Window Products, it's all custom. And the best part, they're local. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. So there's no middleman markup. You save on the highest quality windows in Utah. Plus, Rocky Mountain and Dominion offer rebates. For a limited time, they offer 60-month 0% financing. And right now, get $2,000 off 10 windows or more. They're working 8 weeks out. So make the call now. Advanced Window Products, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, Utah representatives believe that lawmakers will call for a special session to address Representative Chris Stewart's plan to step down. Second, a fire at a remote area of Zion National Park has burned 5 acres of land this morning. And third, police are searching for a suspect who shot at a car on I-15 in Layton. We'll look for a high today, warmest in the next 7, 87. Right now in Salt Lake City, it is 71 degrees. Let's get you back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We have some breaking news regarding this a really popular infant, kind of like a sleeping device. It's a lounger called the Boppy Newborn Lounger. Kate Davis in from the newsroom with this development. Good morning, Kate.
Good morning, Deb. So we have this information. It's actually an investigation from NBC, and we're finding out that a lot more infants have died on these Boppy loungers than federal and regulators had previously announced. So these loungers, these Boppies, were recalled in 2021, and regulators have said, okay, at least 10 babies have died from these Boppies. But this investigation has found that at least 26 babies have died while using these loungers since 2015.
Now, this is specifically for this lounger, because I know when we had our kids, we had a Boppy. It was kind of a horseshoe-shaped pillow.
So it's not the nursing pillow.
Okay, so
it's specifically a lounger. You usually put it on the floor, and the babies can maybe play on that or lay on their bellies on that. They're not designed for sleeping, though, and this investigation is showing that a lot of times if babies accidentally fall asleep, the parents maybe aren't watching, that's when they're at risk for asphyxiation, because that pillow can, I think, block their airways.
Okay, Davis, thank you for the update.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Our top local story brought to you by the city of Sandy. The mayor asking residents and not only homeowners but also business owners for a massive property tax increase. In fact, we're going to speak with Sandy Mayor Monica Zoltansky in just a moment to explain how she's going to sell it.
Yeah, eye-popping in percentage, but as you said, Debbie, not quite as eye-popping when you really boil it down to the dollar figure. But this isn't just a Mayor Z program or a problem. I hold previous mayors and city councils responsible for this. You can't just ignore the ever-changing costs to run a city and then smack your residents with a 32% bump. And remember, back in 2019, you found this article. There was a 22% bump. So you have these huge bumps over the last several years because I guess nobody wants just small little tax increases. So they get to a point where they can't go any further and they just have to smack somebody with, 32 one year, 22 another.
Mayor Monica Zoltansky from Sandy on the line with us. When I watched your video on YouTube pitching the precursor to the tax increase announcement, Mayor, it seemed to me that you laid the blame more at the feet of inflation and the poaching of from other cities that's happening with your personnel because they pay more in other cities. So your personnel is all too happy to take a job elsewhere.
Good morning. Thanks so much for having me, Dave and Debbie. The big reason that we are seeking a property tax increase is to keep up with the rising costs of inflation. Our city budget has been hit, just like your household budget and mine, by rising fuel costs, supply chain, rising construction costs, and most notably this year is our personnel costs. We are investing heavily in bringing our employee pay in Sandy up to average, not leaps and bounds above the rest, but up to average. I'm fighting as mayor to get my employees' pay to average what other cities are paying. And yes, 6 months into the job last year, I was facing a massive hemorrhaging of fire safety personnel. They were leaving for other agencies and that were paying more, that offered better career track growth than Sandy did, and I was facing a reality that we were not keeping pace with what our competition was doing. So rather than lose our essential services and our prime first responders, I took a deep dive into what we need to do to shore things up and have come up with a compensation plan for our fire department that, number one, we increased our staffing levels by 8 firefighters in the mayor's budget, and we've created new career growth for our firefighters, and we're also building our new Fire Station 31. Rebuilding of the main fire station, that's what we're bonding for. That's what we're asking the people of Sandy to invest in. Our old station, we've known for more than a decade, it's crumbling. It's not serving the needs of our modern city. We need to grow our services with the growth of our city, and building this new Fire Station 31 is a top priority for the residents of Sandy, for the city council, and for the mayor. So now we need to pay for it, and this is how we're going to do it. This is a sensible plan. Hey, I know 32% sounds like a lot, and believe me, I'm the last person who wants to propose a tax increase. It's not fun. However, it's necessary. And when I came to office, I made a promise to my residents that I was going to be straightforward, honest, and transparent with what the true needs of our city are. And public safety, in my view, that's number one. So fire safety, fire personnel, 8 new firefighters, a new fire station, and bringing our civil employees up to average. That's my goal with this budget.
I mean, I look at what you're proposing, Mayor, and it doesn't feel, like these are just passion projects. This is, kind of the basic stuff that you need to run a city. I totally get that, but how much is it going to cost? Because 32% is pretty eye-popping. How much is it going to cost the average person?
That's a great question. First, I want to clear up one big misperception is 32% means my tax bill is going up by 32%. What I'm looking at the Sandy portion, when you look at the Sandy portion of the total tax bill, that's 9% of what our taxpayers pay goes to Sandy. That's 32% on that Sandy line item. So you have to look down on your property tax bill below the school districts, below the state school levy, below charter school bills, Salt Lake County, then you come to Sandy City. So it's the fourth or fifth item. That's 9% of your total. So it's 32% on that Sandy portion only. That translates to $9 a month for the average Sandy home value. And for our businesses, that's $16 a month. Now, for the investment in public safety, when people understand it's $9 a month, not hundreds of dollars a month, they take a deep sigh of relief and they say, okay, I get it. Expenses are going up everywhere. We don't like it, but we want our services and we want our public safety, and we certainly support our police and fire. So we're good with it.
Just a point of clarification, isn't that $9 a month an average, Mayor, that some may pay more? For example, if you have, a home that's far more expensive, appraises at more than like $800,000 or $900,000, you're going to pay more. If you have a home that, I don't even know if you can buy a home in Sandy for under $500,000 now, but you would pay a little bit less. So that's more of an average. So some homeowners may see a higher tab there. But what you're saying is you got to look at the Sandy City line item, and because of a lot of our folks are texting in here, our listeners are texting and saying, wait a minute, 32%, and they're multiplying out by their entire property tax bill.
Yeah. Our average property tax in Sandy is around $3,000. So I got a few messages yesterday. Thanks a lot for raising my property tax by $900 a year. And I'm like, whoa. This is what we're doing. Here's how to understand it. And so I really appreciate the chance to spread this information and educate the residents. And when people, as I said, when people understand that it's on the Sandy line item, then it's more palatable. Nobody loves a tax increase, but they understand the cost of our services are valuable, and we value our Sandy employees. We certainly value our public safety officers.
Mayor Zoltansky, thank you for joining us with Sandy City.
The cost of replacing one police officer or one firefighter alone has got to be much more than $9 a month.
Oh, yeah. And it's very difficult when you spend all the time, money, effort training these folks, and then as soon as they get trained, they move somewhere else that has a better retirement program, better pay. Then all that money, time, and effort that you spent training them, it just goes out the window.
Next, the push to overhaul America's Social Security system and hand it over to private firms to manage. Let's discuss in 4 minutes.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Tim Hughes. Here are some of our top stories this hour. And we begin with breaking news. An NBC News investigation found at least 26 babies have died in newborn loungers from Bobby and other companies. That's more than twice the amount of deaths previously reported by federal regulators. The Bobby Lounger was recalled back in 2021, but at least 2 babies have died since then. Officials are reporting a fire at Zion National Park and say it's in a remote area near Imlay Canyon. Around 5 acres have burned so far.
The National Park Service will continue to monitor the fire and will take action as necessary to protect life, property, and park values.
Jonathan Schaefer with the National Park Service says they think this fire was started by lightning, but crews are reminding people to only start fires in designated fire rings and never leave hot coals. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The wall of a major dam in part of southern Ukraine that Moscow controls collapsed this morning, triggering floods, causing evacuations, and endangering Europe's largest nuclear power plant. Ukraine accuses Russian forces of blowing up the dam and hydroelectric power station. Russia, meantime, blames Ukrainian military strikes. Cuba Gooding Jr. has settled accusations that he raped a woman in New York City hotel a decade ago. The settlement was revealed just before the trial was set to begin jury selection this morning. Your money at this moment. The Dow Jones Industrial has turned negative on us again in the last half hour. It's off just 30 points, however, which is about 0.1%. The S&P is up a fraction, almost 6 points, and the Nasdaq this hour is up by 31. Coming up, one more day of thunderstorms, about a 70% chance of it, in case you couldn't tell by all those dark clouds that are starting to gather. We'll check the full forecast next. KSL News Time, 9:32. We have enough people running around Broadcast House at 4 in the morning to field a football team.
Producers, reporters, the traffic team, and us.
This is Tim and Amanda.
Join us each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
This might surprise you, but Frazzle, that delicious slushie that I get at Maverick. I have a Maverick right by my home. That's where I stop off. That's where I get my Frazzle. It is all across the world. You'll find it in Europe, Central America, Asia, Middle East. You will find the Frazzle everywhere. 20,000 machines nationwide. But they are a Utah company. They started up here, and it's part of why I love to support them. And my favorite flavor right now, and I've gone through a million. I've gone through the Tiger's Blood. I go through Mango Madness. I love all the flavors, but my favorite right now is the Pina Colada. Lots of sugar, lots of caffeine. It is wonderful on a hot day. The hotter, the better. And you've got that 12-ounce Frazzle available to you for free starting on Fridays. Free Frazzle Fridays in June. Just make sure you go to one of the participating locations, Maverick, Holiday Oil, Fast Stop. Check it out, freefrazzlefriday.com. It will tell you exactly where these free Frazzles are available, but check it out this Friday. Free Frazzle, 12-ouncer. Go get it.
Premium checking from America First Credit Union is so much more than a regular checking account. It's a saves you money, makes life easier, always has your back account, because it's absolutely loaded with fantastic benefits and features. In fact, it comes stocked with so much awesome stuff. It was voted Best Perks by Money.com. So make sure you're rocking more than a checking account. Head to America First and apply for the exclusive protection, perks, and paybacks of premium checking today. Subject to membership eligibility and conditions. Federally insured by NCUA. Since 1939, America First has been helping people pursue their financial goals. And as we have, we've become one of the largest credit unions in the country. The reason why is simple. It's because every day we do our very best to help each person, family, and business we serve to realize their individual dreams and achieve financial well-being. True to our name, we always strive to put our members and employees first. So come join us and let us put you first. America First Credit Union. Federally insured by NCUA.
Here's a question. Do you wear dentures? At Grandpa's Dental, you can trade in your floppy dentures and get $2,000 towards an implant-supported solution. You know, they say the older you get, the more you need your teeth. Well, chewing your food isn't a luxury. And taking a bite out of a nice, juicy steak, well, it takes teeth. At Grandpa's Dental, they have over 10,000 restorations under their belt, and it's always affordable. When you walk into one of their 3 locations, you're family. Period. At Grandpa's Dental, they live their family legacy by building lasting relationships through state-of-the-art services. So if you want to stop the flop and actually eat foods you can chew, trade in your dentures at Grandpa's Dental for $2,000 toward your implant solution. Schedule your free consultation at grandpasdental.com today. That's grandpasdental.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union, helping members since 1935. I believe it's Heather Kelly still keeping an eye on the drive.
It is, Tim, and things looking pretty good now that all of our crashes have cleared out from the earlier
drive this morning, but you still have some residual delays, especially southbound I-15 through Kaysville and northbound I-15 approaching the I-80 East interchange. You'll also be slowed down by construction, especially out in Summit County on US 40, both directions between Park City and the Jordanelle Reservoir. Save it for the shore. Alcohol and boating don't mix. Protect yourself and others on the water, and boat sober or get pulled over. Don't let alcohol sink your fun. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Gonna look for a high today of 87 degrees, an overnight low of 60. We'll trim a few degrees off of that, but have more sunshine tomorrow. Afternoon thunderstorms are going to stick around for most of the day today, however, so work that into your outdoor plans. Right now, mostly cloudy and 73 degrees at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. This is Utah's all-day companion for news.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Yahoo Finance reports that 2 years of the most significant cost of living increases for Social Security, at least in recent memory, means the average monthly payment has gone from about $1,650 a month last year to $1,825 this year. We also know that the Social Security Administration itself posts on its website that full benefits are payable through 2033.
Then they run out of money. And then they just have to provide that with regular tax dollars. That is a serious issue. We will not have a serious conversation about Social Security. They're doing it right now. They're having that serious conversation in France for months, Debbie. There have been protests. In fact, I just saw an hour ago they posted on Reuters that French protesters stormed the Summer Olympics headquarters in protest because they changed the retirement age from 62 to 64. And they are just having a conniption fit over this in France. And I think here in Utah, in the United States, we will not have this tough conversation.
Well, this is why Jay Evenson's column in the Deseret News caught our attention.
Yeah.
And it's entitled, "Is This America's Swedish Moment for Social Security?" And he writes that Utah's senior senator, taking directly from your column, Jay, Utah's senior senator Mike Lee wants to index the retirement age to life expectancy and allow people to invest some of their Social Security contributions into private accounts. But you say this is attracting howls, but it's what the Swedes did, sort of.
Yes, hi. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, the Swedes confronted this around 1994, and they did this in part. So you have a guaranteed return fund, but they're allowed to take 2.3% of their wages every year, and they have 5 different funds to choose from. A lot of us face this similar type of thing with 401ks at our place of business, right? You're given several funds you can choose from, and you choose to invest into one of them. You can change freely from one fund to the other. But the Wall Street Journal was reporting that the average return over those 30 years in Sweden has been about 10% for the privately invested funds and about 2% for the guaranteed wage fund, which I thought was very interesting because over here we kind of refuse to talk about that because it's been labeled a right-wing plot, and so we don't have a serious conversation about it. Maybe we should be talking about it again.
So their rate of returns was 5 times greater when they privately invested, or at least they were able to choose?
Right, and they note in the journal that this is a time, we went through the dot-com crisis, we went through the recession, we went through the pandemic.
The housing crash, yeah.
And those things are not just inherently American. They affected stock markets around the world, and they still came out with this type of a return over time.
So basically what this would do is privatize Social Security, where a management firm would manage the money that employees put into an account, and the government would take a step back?
Yeah, I have to admit, I don't know all the firm details about how it would work, and the devil's in the details, of course. And so there are always concerns about government then favoring one type of business over another in order to preserve Social Security.
And fees, and private firms collect fees to manage people's money. I do know that. So that could be taken off the top as well, maybe.
Yeah. The main point of my piece here, though, is that we need to start having an adult conversation about Social Security. And Dave, you're right. We have about 10 years. And if we allow this to go the way of the debt ceiling, where we don't really confront it until it's staring us in the face, it's going to be a lot harder than it is now. I like to call this the slowest moving man-made disaster in history. We can all see it coming, and we refuse to do anything about it.
Jay Evenson is the senior editorial columnist at the Deseret News. Jay and I sit on the KSL Deseret News editorial board together, Jay, and I think part of what frustrates me so much about this is I look back in those 90s, 94, but even a little bit later, this was one of the things that George W. Bush wanted to do. He wanted to he spent a great deal of political capital trying to do this very thing, which was modernize and create a different path in Social Security, to privatize a portion of it. And again, it went nowhere. But if you look back, and had they done something similar, the gains would have been far different. And I guess I look back on it, I thought, man, why we refuse. We're so averse, risk averse, that we don't want to touch anything, even though we know it's going to fail, like you say.
Yeah, we like to apply labels to everything, and it's good for fundraising, right? So you can point out the weaknesses in a plan and say, the Republicans are trying to destroy Social Security. One of the interesting things Sweden did is they had a system like ours where current workers were paying for the current retirees, and they decided, that doesn't work very well. So they changed it so that you fund your own retirement through your own taxes and your own contributions, and then also through this private sector component. And so it makes it much harder for the thing to go bankrupt over time. And we have a situation now, there are 2.8 workers for every retiree in this country, and that ratio is going down. When we started in the 1930s, it was something like 49 workers for every retiree. That system is not going to work into the future as we have fewer and fewer children.
We're going upside, or we are upside down when it comes to the number of younger workers supporting retirees. Jay Evenson, as always, thank you so much. Deseret News senior editorial columnist, live on the line with us, talking about what the Swedes did back in the 90s to deal with a flailing, their own Social Security program that was flailing at the time.
And remember, every single paycheck of yours, you see FICA, you see Medicaid, Medicare, it's about 15%. You pay about 7%, then your employer pays an additional 7% in change. So it's about 15% in total that goes to Social Security, Medicaid, Medicare. That's significant. And if you are a self-employed, you're responsible for that full 15%. So this is not an insignificant amount of your monthly paycheck.
I have some heartburn with the idea of privatizing Social Security, and it's not because I'm risk adverse or I'm afraid of change. It's because how much of my money that I contribute would go into the bank accounts of the people managing the fund. And I also wonder if there's other options out there that would work better. For example, people who make, I think the number is like over $150,000 in a year, they don't have to contribute once they hit that $150,000 mark into Social Security. So maybe come November, if you've already earned $150,000, all the money that's going to be deducted for the year from Social Security has been deducted. Maybe for some, it's May. Maybe for others, it's June. What if we just increase that cap so people who earn more continue to contribute to Social Security after they hit that threshold, instead of privatizing the entire system and calling for a complete overhaul.
Yeah, I think there probably are several things we need to do. That is probably one. We need to re-examine that cap. We need to re-examine the retirement age. We need to re-examine the benefits, the investment strategy. There are so many things. I think we should address all of those things, absolutely. But we won't, because Jay said it perfectly. We just got to label things. So this is just a right-wing Republicans going after your Social Security. No, this is a math problem. If we keep ignoring the math problem, then it's going to go from, this is scary, to this is now a disaster.
What's your fix for Social Security? 801-575-TALK. We'll take your live phone calls in just a moment. Is it privatizing Social Security? Is it raising that $150,000 wage cap? Is it raising the retirement age? What's your fix? We'll talk to you in a few minutes.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Did you know Utah has just one all-new station in the morning?
It's this one. Weekday mornings between 5 and 9.
Start your days with us. We're Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Your morning companions for news.
Here's an idea from your neighbor at Hercules Credit Union. Invest in you, right? Because all this time, the equity in your home has grown and grown and, well, grown. So think about a few changes to help it grow even more. Right now, the rates on a Hercules home equity line of credit is 3.99% for 6 months. 3.99%. That's the perfect way to invest in yourself. So you can get started on the maintenance projects you've been putting off for so long, like going solar, repurposing the basement, or use it to pay off high-interest debt, or maybe just go on a much-needed vacation. Hercules will loan up to 80% loan-to-value on your home. And it's all so simple to access with your Hercules Visa card. No need to call or come in. It's just that easy. You know why? Because that's the Hercules way. Get details at HerculesCU.com. HerculesCU.com. Hercules Credit Union. It's neighbors helping neighbors.
Here at the Almond Joy Factory, where tropical vibes abound, we use soft, fresh-tasting coconut.
The crunchiest almonds and delicious chocolate candy.
Ah, but do you know what our most important ingredient is? Sometimes you feel like a nut.
Sometimes you don't.
Almond Joy's got nuts and something even way better than that. Yes, Almond Joy is made with almonds and joy.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning have an exciting offer that's literally going to give you some well-deserved free time. Zero Res is partnered with Unload, Utah's premier valet laundry and dry cleaning service for busy individuals, families, and businesses. And this Monday and Tuesday, they have a special gift for you. Schedule your carpet cleaning right now and get your first 4 rooms of carpet cleaned for just $99 and a free valet laundry service from Unload. Dirt, dust, dander, and allergens don't stand a chance. So if the spring pollen is starting to catch you, or maybe it's just time for a regular cleaning, make the call today. No other company can offer you the same no-residue cleaning, combined with tile, upholstery, and air ducts too. With Zero Res, it truly is a whole home cleaning. Make time for what matters most with Zero Res and Unload. 4 rooms cleaned for $99 and a free service from Unload. Call for details and restrictions. Limited time offer ending on June 6th or after the first 100 customers. For more, visit ZeroRes.com. ZeroRes.com.
Taking your live phone calls in 2 minutes. What's your fix for America's flailing Social Security system? What do you think needs to be done to keep it solvent past 2033? 801-575-TALK. 801-575-TALK.
Elder abuse often goes unnoticed and unreported, especially when older adults are isolated and lack access to resources. Well, on June 15th from 10 to noon, you're invited to a virtual event hosted by the Utah Department of Health and Human Services and Aging Service Partners. Because June 15th is World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. The focus of this year's conference is working together in collaborative partnership to educate, report, and prevent financial exploitation and other forms of maltreatment against older and vulnerable adults in Utah. You'll hear from a wonderful lineup of notable keynote speakers, including an introduction from Utah's Governor Cox. Please help protect Utah's older and more vulnerable adults, not just on one day, but every day. Attend this virtual event on June 15th from 10 a.m. to noon and find out what you can watch for. Text SENIOR to 57500 to register. That's SENIOR to 57500.
Text us here in the studio about the weather in your area. The Cypress Credit Union KSL text line is 57500.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, Utah Republican Chair Robert Axon says he thinks lawmakers will call a special session now that Representative Chris Stewart says he will step down from Congress. Second, park officials say anyone hiking around Zion doesn't need to report smoke sightings. They are aware of a small fire that's burning near Imlay Canyon. And third, floods and evacuations in Ukraine after the wall of a major dam in the south part of the country collapsed this morning. We're going to shoot for a high today of 87 degrees, and right now in Salt Lake City, 73. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Pitch your fix for Social Security. 801-575-TALK. In 1991, Gallup did a poll, and they found that most Americans surveyed support the concept of privatizing Social Security. By 1998, they redid that poll, and the support had jumped by 3%. So, 64% back in the 90s were supporting privatization of Social Security.
I think we like in general the idea of having some control over our future. And when we look at Social Security, there is a matrix there. You know exactly how much you're going to make. I think they send it to us every year or every few years. They tell you this is your expected Social Security payment once you retire in, for me, like 40-something years. There's no variability. And it's not a lot of money. Quite honestly, let's be honest. What is it, $1,800 on average?
It's the average right now is $1,825 a month as of this January.
Okay, so if that's your only income, that's only, what, $21,000 a year?
I believe I read where for 30% of Americans it is their only source of income. 30%.
30%.
It is their only source of income.
How could you live on $21,000?
801-575-TALK. 801-575-TALK. That's a great question. So what is your fix for Social Security? The reason we're talking about this is because the Deseret News, the opinion editor of the Deseret News, Jay Evenson, just joined the show talking about what Sweden has done that caught Dave's attention, which in turn, of course, caught my attention. And they privatized their Social Security program where workers there are mandated, right, Dave? Mandated to contribute part
a portion,
part of their salary, like 2.5% to a fund. It's a private fund, and they can choose from 4 or 5 different funds to invest in.
Much like our 401ks, we can put our money in a very aggressive fund with a very high rate of return, or perhaps you lose all of the money, but you can choose your risk factor. But I think they started it in 94. The rate of return was 10%, whereas their regular Social Security program's rate of return was only 2%. So 5 times less.
Investopedia reports that Chile did sort of the same thing where they privatized Social Security, and this was back in the 80s, I believe, and they've had the opposite results. That basically they've had insufficient contributions based on increased life expectancy and years of poor investment returns, quoting directly from Investopedia, that pension or that Social Security, their Social Security system in Chile has not been the success that the Swedes have experienced. I think it's you're rolling the dice with this. It would have to be a mandatory contribution. If you are in a 401k program right now or you're enrolled in an IRA, it's voluntary.
Right.
But if this is not mandated, I fear many people would spend their retirement today. And they'd get to retirement and they would have no we're not
Totally
good. Americans are just not great money managers. Let's face it. Most Americans don't even have $800 in a savings account right now for an emergency. So how am I to believe that everyone's going to voluntarily opt into 2.5% of their income going into the new Social Security program that's been privatized?
We're taking your phone calls, 575 talk, 801-575 talk. Let's start off with Rick in Centerville. Rick, what do you think? What's the solution?
Wonderful. What's the solution? Thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to mention two things. Number one, privatizing creates an opportunity for people to invest their own money their own way, and it could really become a problem with people losing money big time. You'd have to have a lot of controls on that, and even if it's in the stock market, you're subject to some horrendous fluctuations up and down. And then the other problem with raising the cap, I don't want to just come up with the problems. I do have a solution.
Okay.
The raising the cap on the amount would work, but what you'd have to do is combine that cap. Combine releasing that cap with saying, but people are still limited to the amount that they pull out of the system. For example, right now, the reason it's limited to 120,000 or 150,000 is because those people, they don't pay in anymore because they don't receive anymore later down the road.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. No, and that's where the saltiness comes in, right? You've paid into it for 40 years, and if you die at 65 before you start collecting, you don't get any of that money back. That is just going in there for the greater good. Jake in Taylorsville, you're next.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Thanks for. How are you guys doing?
We're
Doing
good. Great. We want your solution to Social Security, so to really make our Tuesday, Jake.
So, in my opinion, I think people are going to be very nervous because of the political climate of a third party doing the Social Security, and they're afraid that I'm afraid Congress is going to step in, and try to control the third party.
That's a fair.
I think they're gonna.
That's a fair concern.
I think they're going to try to do an oversight committee of that.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I absolutely could see that happening. Thanks for the phone call. And Debbie, there are parameters, and it's tricky, but fundamentally what we have is you and I are working right now. We're paying for my mom. Right? We're paying for she's 77 years old. She's probably taken out more in Social Security than she's put in. So it's your tax dollars and my tax dollars are going to support my mom, which, by the way, I appreciate. But this privatization, the idea behind it would be you're saving for yourself. You're not just saving to pay for somebody else's mom. And it's a totally different way to look at it, but it's broken right now. We've got to figure out a solution.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen on the KSL News Radio app and in your car at 102.7 FM. KSL News Radio, your all-day companion for news.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour, police still looking for whoever shot at a car on I-15 in Layton yesterday. Police say the suspect was riding a black Harley motorcycle when they shot the driver a car near Hillfield Road yesterday. Utah Highway Patrol Sergeant Rick Schrader tells KSL TV these kinds of things are happening all too often.
Everything from hit and runs to, these brandishings. Obviously, these things are becoming more and more common.
Schrader says the driver's injuries were not life-threatening. UHP asking anyone with information to give them a call. The North Tooele Fire District got a distress call last night about 2 kayakers on the Great Salt Lake. An state parks officer found them in a deflating boat with no life preservers. These rescues could get more frequent since Devin Chavez with Utah State Parks says at least 30 bigger boats are being launched back into the lake today. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Predictions that the expiration of Title 42 would create a flood of undocumented immigrants haven't panned out that way. In fact, ABC's Jim Ryan says the opposite seems to be happening.
The latest numbers from the Department of Homeland Security show that since Title 42 was replaced by Title 8 almost a month ago, unlawful entries along the southern border have fallen 70% from their record highs. As for lawful entries, DHS says more than 1,000 non-citizens have used the new CBP phone app to apply for asylum before setting foot in the U.S.
And just ahead, our KSL weather, cloudy right now, and we do have that chance of a thunderstorm again today. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
Start your days with knowledgeable, friendly voices telling you about the latest news and weather out there.
Hi, this is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
In the business of waking you up each morning from 5 to 9.
On KSL News Radio.
This is Jeff Stout with Fink and McGregor Mortgages Made Simple. FHA has announced a significant reduction in mortgage insurance rates. This can be a game changer for some people. FHA rates are typically lower than conventional mortgage rates. Combine this with lower mortgage insurance and FHA is worth a look. FHA is especially attractive for low down payment, cash out, or credit issues. You don't have to be a first-time home buyer and you can refinance into or out of an FHA loan. Another attractive feature of an FHA loan is the ability to streamline refinance when rates come down. No appraisal needed, limited documentation, and low cost helps you lower your payment with minimal fuss. Call us today. Fink and McGregor Mortgages Made Simple, 801-264-9494. That's 264-9494. Or on the web at finkmcgregor.com. NMLS 289115.
I found, Tim, that one of the hardest things about being a mom is just deciding what to cook for dinner every night.
I know.
Which is part of why I'm so excited to tell everybody about Beehive Meals.
It is a Utah company, and at some point we're going to have to tell the story of the Jacksons and how they actually got this going in 2019. But if you've been struggling with having tacos one night and spaghetti another night, open up your world for dinner with things like Mongolian beef stir fry or Parmesan honey pork roast.
Your family dinner has just never been easier than it is with these. They're pre-assembled freezer meals. I put it in the crock pot. I set it for how long it needs to go. It stays warm after that. And that way, if the family can't all eat together, if one person has basketball and another, it's just warm for whenever they're ready.
And by the way, less than $3.50 per serving. You couldn't go out to the store or out to dinner, certainly on your own, for that price.
You're absolutely right, Tim. I couldn't buy the ingredients for any less.
Start it for your family right now. Go to beehivemeals.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union, helping members since 1935. Here's Heather Kelly.
Well, the only thing slowing people down across the Wasatch Front and the Wasatch Back are the orange construction barrels. So you're going to see some slowing from time to time on the east side belt. I-215 heading north toward Parley's Canyon. Also US 89 through Fruit Heights and on US 40 as you make your way between I-80 and Jordanelle Park Reservoir, and that is in both directions. Zero Res have partnered with Unload, Utah's premier valet laundry and dry cleaning service. Schedule your carpet or air deck cleaning with Zero Res, and they'll add in a free service from Unload. Call for details 801-288-9376. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we've got some clouds this morning, but we'll get even more this afternoon with a possible thunderstorm happening. Right now, it's 72 degrees and mostly cloudy at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. This is Utah's all-day companion for news.
Summer water safety. Special coverage with David Dujanovic.
Launching our summer water safety coverage brought to you by the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation.
And we begin with this very harrowing, sad tale. Oh my goodness, Oliver the Chocolate Lab. He went missing at Tanner Park a month ago. Very popular dog-friendly trail east side of Salt Lake County. took my dog Riley there many, many times. We're going to speak to Oliver's human, Travis, in just a moment about what happened to Oliver.
Yeah, this is obviously with the runoff coming. It's a problem every single year, no question. It's naturally the rivers rise, they get fast, the creeks go quickly, and the dogs that are so used to playing in this water, they just don't realize how quick this water is. But again, this year is especially strong currents.
Well, we had trouble back in 2011 too at same park. This time it was a chocolate lab named Sydney, right along Parley's Creek there. And then the owner spoke to KSL Television at the time. It was 12 years ago. Said just in a minute, the 92-pound dog was gone. 92 pounds swept away in the creek. And then I think back to a few years ago when we reported about a woman who went into the creek after her dogs, and it was just a horrible outcome.
And she was just opening and closing her eyes, getting spun around by the water. And I couldn't do anything else but just try to go in after her. I jumped in the water and went after her. The current pulled me like 2 times around too. But finally I grabbed onto her foot and I pulled her out of the water and took her into shore.
That was a witness who came to the rescue who was at the park. And unfortunately, the woman didn't survive. I remember that story so well, how tragic it was. She went in to try to save her dogs, and she didn't make it.
And that's the natural reaction. You see someone you love, whether it's a child or a dog, the initial reaction is to jump in and try to save them. But you just cannot compete with that water. Right now, when it's moving so quickly, it doesn't matter how good of a swimmer you are, it will just absolutely dominate you.
Let's go back to the story of Oliver. Oliver's owner, Travis Munt, on the line with us. Good morning, Travis.
Good morning.
So what's the latest on Oliver?
Unfortunately, he is still missing. Like you said, I lost him in Tanner Park almost exactly a month ago on 5/5. And I don't know what happened. He got swept away in the river, and I haven't seen him since. And I've been looking everywhere, and I cannot find him.
Oh, that's brutal. We're so sorry, Travis. Walk us through what was happening that day.
It was a day just like any other. I just thought I was going to walk my dog to the park, thought I'd do something nice for him. Did him some exercise. We walked down Tanner Park to the end of it where they have a little opening that you can get in the river. I just wasn't even thinking about it. I'd kind of heard that the runoff was strong this year, but didn't really give it a second thought. He was maybe 10 seconds ahead of me. He loves water, and he turned the corner and he jumped right in. And I actually didn't even see him for like I said, about 10 seconds, and somebody waved me over, and he was gone. The current was so strong. It just carried him away, and it all happened so fast. And I'm just kicking myself. I just feel so bad, and I should have taken it more seriously. I should have taken the runoff more seriously. I should have taken the speed of the river more seriously. I should have been watching him more closely, and I don't know. I just wasn't even thinking about it, and now I'm kicking myself.
Well, Travis, first of all, I think we've all let our dogs off leash at Tanner Park. I took my dog Riley. He passed away this year. It still breaks my heart that I miss him terribly. So I have a feeling I kind of understand what you're going through when our canines go missing, or our best friends pass away. It's just absolutely, it's hard. It's so tragic. But I don't know how many times I let Fry off the leash at Tanner Park, because that was his one time to go out and actually socialize with other dogs, and he kind of got a taste of nature, and sort of like, oh, mom's letting me out to play today, guys. This is super cool. So it's not just you. It's just unfortunate that Oliver has to be sort of he's the story here, because you could possibly, I think your story's probably going to help a lot of other dog owners understand how quickly things can happen.
I hope so. I just hope they take the water seriously, it's surreal, honestly. I feel, I just thought this stuff only happened in movies and books and stuff, and now it's happening to me. And just don't have the same mentality I had. Just don't think it can't happen to you, because it definitely can. And just keep an eye on your dogs, especially near the river.
Did you have Oliver off leash, or was he on leash that day?
No, he was off leash. He was in the off leash part of the park. Most people have their dogs off leash. So yeah, I had him off leash.
Yeah, off leash. Would you have put him? Do you recommend owners keep their dogs on leash around these waters now? Has that crossed your mind, Travis?
A few things crossed my mind. You could put the responsibility on dog owners and have them have a leash near the end, because it's not open. You can't get to the river at all parts of the dog park. You can only get there at like 2 parts. So maybe just at those parts have it being on leash. Have some sort of like warning or barrier also crossed my mind. Like it was just very easy for my dog to just slip in there, and there wasn't anything physically stopping him. So it just kind of depends how you want to go about it. But I would definitely have knowing what I know now and going through this, I would definitely have my dog on leash near the end of the park where they have access to the river.
Travis, are you still holding out hope, or have you kind of made peace with Oliver being gone?
I don't know. To tell you the truth, I have mixed feelings. But I do want to say I am still looking. He's an 80-pound chocolate lab. He disappeared from Tanner Park. He has my tags and he has my chip. And I have not found his body, so nothing is confirmed. I put up posters, and I've kind of worked with some dog trappers, and I feel like I've exhausted my options, unfortunately. So now I'm just going to need to leave, before I can do anything more. But I do want people to keep an eye out. If they see anything, my number is on all kinds of posters around town. You can call Animal Services. You can call the fire department is aware of my situation. You can call police. Just call somebody. If you see Oliver, chocolate lab, male, super friendly. If you see him, please just give me a call. So I guess I am holding out hope. But
well, Travis,
I'm also trying to be real about the situation.
Yeah, I mean, best of luck. We're so sorry. I guess we'll hope for the best. We appreciate you taking the time, and as you said, Deb, I think a lot of people, it's easy to forget. It's easy to maybe underestimate the dangers. And Travis, we appreciate you sharing your story with us.
Thanks for having me on.
Travis, do me a favor and please send a picture of your sweet Oliver to our producer, Caitlin. And so let's get Oliver's photo up on our social media here at KSL News Radio. I make a pledge to you to put it all over my social media as well. And we will, as you said, Dave, hope for the best for Oliver. Travis, thank you. We do appreciate you sharing your story. We're going to continue our commitment to water safety throughout the month of June. Thursday, all day long, Dave and I will be broadcasting all day. We're going to be broadcasting, or is it
maybe just
us?
For
the show? Okay.
I think we're the lucky ones. Maybe Boyd will come make a visit or something, but I think it's us.
Are we there till 7 p.m. from 9 a.m.? It's like for 10 hours.
KSL at night.
Bring your sunscreen. Dave and I will be live at the Ogden River Kayak Park. I've never been there.
No, it sounds amazing.
Yeah, and we're gonna hit all kinds of safety tips, top to bottom. Talking about, for example, a new automated detection system for swimmers. So if somebody goes under the water for too long, this detection system automatically notifies lifeguards. I want to hear more about that. Did you hear about the kayakers at the Great Salt Lake last night? We're doing some in-depth reporting this morning on Utah's Morning News. Got in distress about a mile offshore. The rescuers said they didn't have life jackets. We're going to try to find out where you can score some low-cost or free life jackets, even if you have to borrow them for the day. We'll have more information on that. And we've also got a new push that the state has been making to have someone in your family be the designated water watcher. So I'm really excited to be with the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation on Thursday to give us lots and lots of safety tips so we can enjoy a safe summer around the water.
Yeah, that's part of Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation. Reach or throw, don't go. Rethink entering the water to save someone.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hi, it's Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Why should you start your day with us?
We have decades of news experience between us.
And we take your trust seriously.
Come here for news tomorrow, 5 to 9.
On KSL.
Summer 2023 will be one to remember.
Mike Pence and Chris Christie set to enter the race.
Governor Cox is actively looking for trade away from China.
Brace for higher gas prices. It's a summer to camp out on KSL. Tim and Amanda have breaking news. Mornings 5 to 9. David Dujanovic and Boyd Matheson talk about the biggest stories during the day. And you get updates and Jeff Kaplan's Minute of News from 3 to 7 on the drive home. The summer of 2023 will be on KSL News Radio.
It doesn't get better than summer camping in Utah, and it doesn't get any bigger than the Utah Summer RV Palooza, presented by Bish's RV. We're bringing the biggest RV show in the region to Layton, June 8th through the 10th, for 3 days only. The Layton Hills Mall is where you'll find a massive selection of top RV brands like Go Play, Ember RV, Forest River, Northwood, and a whole lot more. Get up to 20% below cost on select new 2022 RVs, and get 90 days no payments on approved credit for all play and no pay till September OAC. Summer RV Palooza is where you'll find a brand new 26 BH travel trailer. It's high quality at an undeniable value at a sale price of only $19,995. The selection is huge, and so are the trade-in offers. Get max value for your current RV when you trade in at the show. Shop the Summer RV Palooza now at bishes.com/Utah RV Palooza. 3 days only, June 8th through the 10th at the Layton Hills Mall. Sponsored by Bish's RV.
Our state's children face a serious threat from the vaping industry, but thanks to state leaders and the Utah Health Department, Utah established the strictest nicotine standards for vaping in the United States to protect our kids. However, the vaping industry sued, claiming their sales and profits are down. Now they're pushing the Health Department to hand control of vaping regulations to the federal government. We can't allow that to happen. The proposed change would automatically increase nicotine levels in vape pens and reintroduce fruity flavors that entice our kids back into Utah convenience stores. Visit StopKidsVaping.com today and make your voice heard. Utah should maintain state control, preserve our 3% nicotine limitations, and prevent vaping flavors from returning to Utah convenience stores. Together, we can secure a better future for our children. Join us at StopKidsVaping.com and tell the Health Department, protect our kids.
Paid for by Prosperous Utah Communities.
Incredible savings on all Bernina machines at Dave's Bernina in Provo and St. George.
Don't miss our summer sale.
It's time to get a new Bernina machine and see the difference.
Save big on select Bernina machines. $500 off the Bernina 5 Series and L8 Series Surgers. Take $700 off the 7 Series. $800 off the Bernina 8 models, and save $1,000 on Bernina long arm quilting machines.
Featuring 60 months, no interest on certain models.
But this financing offer is only good through June 12th.
The new Bernina 770QE Plus CAFE machine is in stock and specially priced.
Come in and check out the special edition 475 CAFE machine. It is discounted along with the Bernina 435.
Amazing bargains on previously owned machines while they last that come with warranties.
Starting at $399.
Hurry in to Dave's Bernina, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo. Follow us on Facebook.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our clients' best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured, so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
If you've got a honey-do list with electrical, plumbing, heating, or air conditioning projects on it, Any Hour Services can help. Call Any Hour Services, electrical, plumbing, heating, and air. anyhourservices.com.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, state parks officers rescued 2 kayakers on the Great Salt Lake last night. Second, the Utah Highway Patrol is still trying to locate the suspect in a road rage shooting on I-15 in Layton. Third, a lot fewer people have been crossing the U.S. border illegally since the end of Title 42. Right now, 73 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Don't drive angry. That line really captured my attention from the family of the man who was killed in Utah County over the weekend. Innocent, driving with his girlfriend, became swept up in what police describe as a road rage incident. And not kidding you, Dave, no sooner did the family say that than I read about another alleged road rage incident, this one up north in Layton.
Everything from hit and runs to, these brandishings. Obviously, these things are becoming more and more common.
The National Transportation Board has done a lot of surveys on this, and they found that the most common types of road rage begin with tailgating, yelling, or honking in more than half of fatal crashes.
How often do you refrain from honking?
I never honk.
So
I probably don't honk when I should honk. The only time I use that honker is when I'm trying to pick somebody up for pickleball. Beep, beep.
The last time I honked, it was because somebody was backing out of a parking
stall. Yeah.
And I don't think they had a backup camera. And if they did, they didn't know how to use it. And they almost backed into my bumper. And that was the only time I honked. And even then, I thought maybe I should just throw this car in reverse and just wheel backwards down the aisle so I can avoid honking.
Is it because we're afraid of their reaction?
Yes. Adam Small standing by live for us. So tell us about the situation that happened in Layton. My understanding is somebody got shot at up there.
Yeah, Debbie. So basically, from what police have been telling us, a black Harley-Davidson motorcycle was we don't know for sure if it's road rage. Police have said that they're investigating it as potentially road rage. So they're driving. I don't know what happened that led up to this, but they're driving up I-15 right by the Layton Hills Mall, and police are saying that the rider of that motorcycle shot at this car, and the driver was actually hit and taken to the hospital. Now, thankfully, police have said that injury is not life-threatening, but someone was shot, and police are still looking for whoever shot this person. And it's just been a really troubling trend lately of, again, this could be potentially road rage. You obviously have the tragedy that happened to Eagle Mountain. It's definitely a concerning trend right now.
Do they have any leads on this suspect or where or how to look for this individual?
Right now, I believe Utah Highway Patrol said that the little information that they were able to provide was actually because one witness did come forward. And they right now are still asking for more witnesses to come forward. I know it can be a little bit of a whirlwind, but if there's anyone out there listening that did potentially see or hear or maybe even just know something about what happened there, Utah Highway Patrol is asking on the public's help. They often do, and when they may not have enough on their own. But there are definitely people looking, but we know at least one person's come forward, but they're hoping more do as well.
Well, you'd said at the beginning of this conversation, Adam, that police, it may be road rage. I mean, at some point, somebody got a bullet in them. I mean, and they believe it was fired from a gun that was, somebody on a motorcycle in the area. So that's road rage, isn't it? I mean, they just need to investigate this as a road rage. It seems to me. I mean, I don't know what precipitated this or what caused it, but you get shot by somebody. That's once you start pulling the trigger on the freeway, to me, that's road rage.
It definitely seems pretty cut and dry to me too, Debbie. I think obviously when we hear from police, they need to take things as far as they've been able to investigate, how far they've been able to talk to people. But yeah, you're shooting a gun on the freeway. Yeah. At the very least, there's definitely something wrong. There's definitely something that needs to be figured out. I mean, that person is thankful to be alive, I imagine, but it's
Unreal.
It is an unreal thing happening, especially between Layton and obviously what's happened. We've been talking about in Eagle Mountain as well. It's not good.
Yeah.
Adam Small, thank you for the update with KSL News Radio.
And that tragedy in Eagle Mountain involving a 48-year-old man and his girlfriend, Debbie Worthen of KSL 5 Television spoke to the family. Now, this is different than the one that Adam was just reporting on up in Layton, where somebody inside a car was shot and thankfully going to survive. This one had to do with what police called a road rage incident that led up to a head-on collision that killed these innocent folks that were out for a Sunday drive.
It's a huge hole in my heart. My world has been turned upside down.
It's so senseless.
It is absurd. It's completely absurd and has completely robbed two families of two beautiful souls.
And Debbie, as you watch and look at those videos that are online or the pictures that are online of the devastation of that crash, there's no way anyone could possibly survive that crash. It was just so horrific. And we expect charges any moment for those road ragers.
One of the family members said this.
Don't use vehicles when you're angry.
Be kind, be loving, be compassionate.
Kind of difficult to hear that, but he said, don't use vehicles when you're angry. And when I heard that, it's like, don't drive a car when you're drunk, right? Don't stay behind the wheel when you're angry.
And so often, and again, let's be honest with ourselves, we've all experienced on some level some road rage where we've overreacted to someone cutting us off. Now, we may not escalate it to something criminal, but we've all shown elements of road rage. The most common causes: traffic, running late, passing people on the right, a disregard for others, the law. Oftentimes it can be a learned behavior as well. You see, that's how your mom and dad reacted, or that's how a spouse reacts, and whatever it might be.
So what you're saying by passing on the right is, you mean we make somebody angry at us because we're going too slow and then they pass us on the right, or we pass somebody on the right because they're going too slow?
Yeah.
Well, I pass people on the right a lot. So not in the extra lane. I mean, not in the, in the emergency lane, but sometimes you got to pass somebody on the right, right?
You're not supposed to do that.
I know, but that's not road rage.
Yeah, but how many times have you been driving, maybe even the speed limit or even a little bit over in a lane, and someone aggressively comes right up on you, goes into the right lane, passes you, and comes back and cuts you off?
That's a daily thing when I'm driving to work on I-15.
But these are the causes. This is where it starts. Right? Anytime people disrespect you, so to speak, this is the seeds that get planted for road rage.
Yeah, and it's not worth it. It's just not worth it. I think of this way. This is how I calm myself down is, will this matter in 1 minute? And usually the answer is it's almost always absolutely not. Is this worth potentially harming somebody else or myself? Absolutely not. And that takes me right, just totally levels me several notches down if I'm upset because somebody forgot to turn on their left-hand blinker. I mean, like, how ridiculous is some of this stuff that happens where we get so angry at people because they're following a little too closely, or they're looking at their cell phone when they shouldn't be. Okay, we all know that, and they happen to wait out a green light a little too long, and we're like laying on our horn, and we're so upset. But the reality of it is, you're still going to get home, right? If you just give them that little extra space to make a mistake.
Yeah, it's hard to do, and I can feel the frustration. I've experienced it, but this might surprise you. When we're talking about this gunshot victim because of a road rage incident, was it in Layton? Yeah, Layton Hills Mall, right? In 2021, here in the United States, it was the deadliest year for road rage. This is going to shock you because you're wondering, how often is a gun used in a road rage incident? 44 per month in 2021 were shot and or killed in a road rage incident. 44 per month. And we just had one here in Layton.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top local story this hour. Family members mourning two lost loved ones killed in a crash that investigators say was caused by road rage. KSL News Radio's Mark Jackson reports.
Frank and Michelle Salm tell KSL 5 their brother Rodney Salm had a lust for life and a passion for cars. His girlfriend Misha Himmelberger always loved to go along for the ride.
She was always the person to jump in the passenger seat and go for the ride.
The two were out in Rodney's Porsche enjoying a beautiful Sunday on SR 73 when investigators say drivers of a Nissan and a truck got into an altercation, which eventually led to the truck ramming into the Porsche, killing Rodney and Misha. They say Rodney and Misha were the glue that held everyone together, and now they believe the void their deaths bring will never be filled. Mark Jackson, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. In France today, strikes and protests happening right now across the country. A day of action called by unions following President Macron's move to raise the retirement age from 62 to 65. Marcus Moore is on the scene in Paris.
This is the 14th day of nationwide protests across the country. They expect 600,000 people to participate in today's demonstration. They hope to put pressure on the government to vote on a possible plan that would reverse this retirement plan altogether, but the likelihood of it passing is very unlikely.
Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down 39 points on the day right now. The NASDAQ up 49 points right now. And our KSL weather, clouds this morning, and we could see another thunderstorm this afternoon. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
This summer, the political season heats up.
By August, it'll be time for debates. Can you believe it?
We're planning coverage of the real issues, the important stories that impact how we live.
Listen each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hi, I'm Jay Broadbent with Alpine Home Medical, and I wanted to let you know what you can expect when you walk into one of our 10, soon to be 11 stores. This story came to us from one of our many 5-star Google reviews.
I was panicked and needed help. My daughter had a serious family emergency and I needed to travel out of town, but I couldn't haul my oxygen tanks with me. I needed portable oxygen. I tried several companies and they all said I didn't have a prescription. I went to Alpine and they called my doctor. 20 minutes later, I was on my way with a portable oxygen machine.
At Alpine Home Medical, we understand how urgent your healthcare needs can be. We'll do everything we can to exceed your expectations. Let us help you bring wellness home. Visit us online at alpinehomemedical.com. That's alpinehomemedical.com.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
alpinehomemedical.com.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors to tell you about our 10-year everything guarantee. Most contractors spout off having great warranties that last forever. But those warranties are always, and I do mean always, riddled with loopholes, exception, fine print, and nonsense. At RGS Exteriors, we cover everything. Parts, labor, material, everything and anything for 10 full years. There's no cost to you whatsoever. No hoops to jump through, no exceptions. Yes, the products we sell, like James Hardy Siding, our windows, gutter covers, come with a 25 to 50-year manufacturer's warranty, just like everybody else. But the truth is, the products almost never fail. It's always the labor and material which is never covered, so you're stuck paying for service calls. For peace of mind, call RGS Exteriors. You'll sleep easy for 10 full years. 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or online rgsutah.com. Gutters, siding, windows, and all exteriors with the 10-year everything guarantee.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Babbel. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at babbel.com/TNC.
I always wanted to learn Spanish, but I never thought I'd have the time. Then I discovered Babbel.
Babbel's lessons are fun. They only take like 10 or 15 minutes, and in 3 weeks, you're starting to speak another language.
Babbel's lessons are voiced by native speakers, so you get the pronunciation just right.
If you want to learn a language, there's no better way than
Babbel.
Text radio to 64,000 to try Babbel for free. Text radio to 64,000.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union, helping members since 1935. Here's Heather Kelly.
We do have a crash reported in Ogden. It's at the intersection of 12th Street and Monroe Boulevard. Not seeing any delays in the area, so things look to be moving through there pretty well. You do have construction, though, that you'll have to contend with, and that will slow you down on many roadways like US 89 in Davis County, and US 40 is the worst right now in Summit and Wasatch counties, moving between the reservoir and I-80. Fill up your bucket list in Box Elder County. History, recreation, and wildlife, along with excellent dining and shopping, await you. Find out more at visitboxeldercounty.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we're stuck in the same pattern. Sunshine in the morning, clouds and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Actually, some clouds going on right now. Mostly cloudy and 73 at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. This is Utah's all-day companion for news.
Right on the money. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Video games, video game devices are just big business for the companies that put them out. But how much of our income annually really should be spent on these devices or the games? For example, Apple releasing a new VR headset for $3,500 coming out in early 2024?
It looks awesome.
$3,500.
That's correct. I'm not going to buy the first one, but I'm going to probably buy the third one, the third version that's going to come out at $800. It's awesome. It's like wearing ski goggles, and it's a VR set, but you can actually see the world around you. It's amazing. It looks so cool. And then it has this mixed version of virtual reality and augmented reality. So, Debbie, if you're wearing the goggles and I'm wearing the goggles, we would see perhaps a dragon would just appear, and you and I would both see this dragon flying around. That is awesome. And we can experience that together.
I'm going to talk about a whole bunch of things right now that I never experienced. I don't understand what they are. Legends of Zelda selling 10 million copies in the first few days of release. I don't even know when this thing was released. Gustavo, you're going to have to join this conversation. This is right up your alley. Our producer, Gustavo, big into gaming, right? Is that fair to say? Big into gaming. So they're selling for $70. That game is selling for like, what, $70? And $700 million of sales in just 3 days. And that is just the tip of the iceberg. I was looking up a story in preparation for this. What is The Witcher 3? Is that a game?
Full disclosure, the games, the list that you have in front of you, I've never played those games because those aren't my kind of games.
Okay.
But I've heard of them. Very popular, very expensive.
$200, and then you said that's resale?
Resale. If they're sealed.
Rock Band 4, $249.
I love Rock Band.
That was like the Guitar Hero and then the drums.
Oh, my kids had that Guitar
that one,
Hero.
yeah.
I remember that. It wasn't just
Rock Band was better.
Yeah.
It wasn't just $250 for one game. How much do you spend a month, Gustavo? Do you think on gaming?
So it depends on the game. I have to really like the game. But I was just telling Dave off the air that last Friday this game dropped, and I spent $90 on the game because
Street Fighter 6.
Street Fighter 6.
Yeah.
Brand new game came out last Friday. I dropped $90 on it because it was the deluxe edition, and it comes with a lot of features, new characters, new clothing,
skins.
Skins. Yeah, that's what they call
I get
it.
it.
Yeah. Dave gets it. So $90 for that game.
Had you planned that in your budget, or was this very spontaneous?
No, it was actually planned because since I follow a bunch of gaming sources on Twitter, so the announcement was made last year that this game was going to drop June of 2023. So I knew that this was going to be the cost of this game.
What's the most you've ever spent on a single game?
Last year, July of 2022, yes, NBA 2K23, the championship edition game, $170.
$170.
75 players of all time. LeBron showing you how he does it. A stylish flush by King James.
Is that from the game?
That is from the game. So that
it sounds like reality. It sounds like
it's real.
It is real.
Debbie, it's unbelievable.
It is real.
And you spent how much?
170.
Are these guys like dribbling around the court and you're controlling their shots? Is that how that works?
So this is the thing. This game has a game mode called My Team, where you collect player cards and you can build the ultimate team. Like I have a Laker team with Magic Johnson, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, and so. But these cards are ranked. So they rank them from, like with stones, they rank them from gold to all the way dark matter.
Okay, I'm taking a timeout here, Gustavo. I'm going to bring in Shane.
I love the nerdery. That is like some next level nerdery.
I got to get Shane Stewart, certified financial planner, on the line here. Gustavo dropped $90, said he budgeted for it a couple of days ago for this new game that came out, Shane. It sounds like if he budgets for it, that's great. But if he just decides to run out and spend $3,500 to in the next couple of months on this new VR system from Apple, that's not so great.
You hit it right on the head. The word I love to hear was budget. I budgeted for it or planned for it. The way we get ourselves in trouble in any hobby or pastime is to just spend because we want it, we need it, we feel that excitement, and we haven't really thought about how that's going to be paid. And so I love that word, that he budgeted and thought about it ahead of time.
Shane, it feels like there is certain things that we accept that cost money. Like we don't talk about people going out and spending $50 or $60 on a round of golf, but as soon as you spend $60 on a video game, it's like, I can't believe you'd do that.
I would agree with that, Dave. I'm going to golf this weekend, Shane, and I'm probably going to spend $40, not $90, Gustavo, between lunch, a round of golf, and a cart. And I don't think anything of it, but I'm totally sitting here in judgment of Gustavo for dropping $90 on a video game.
Yeah, there's an old saying that says, "Show me your calendar and your bank account, and I'll tell you what's important to you." And we all have something different, right? And so I'm with you. I'm thinking gaming. Wow, I could not sit on the couch that long, but I know a lot of folks who do, and they love it. And I think that's the difference between all of us, is we all have those things that we love, and that's what we put our money towards. As long as we're planning that, we're in good shape.
Shane, you just haven't found the right game. Trust me, you find the right game, you will find your backside glued to that couch. It's great.
I've heard that.
So bottom line, certified financial planner advice for parents who may be financing their child's gaming habit.
I would say the similar, plan that, and also with a child, come to an agreement of the types of games. It's not just a financial decision, but maybe a brain development decision on not just the game, but the time they spend on the game versus time on homework or outdoors. Really, with children, you want to have not just a financial decision, but an emotional and psychological conversation with them as well.
And they could work it off with chores.
And that is a great idea. Teach them the value of money, even if that currency is a video game.
Shane Stewart, thank you for joining us, certified financial planner. We tap into his expertise. He's with the NBA. But I'm telling you, let me ask you this. Even though you spent $170 on NBA 2K Double Championship Super Edition with Shaq and Kobe and LeBron, how long have you played that game? Have you tracked the hours?
I haven't tapped into the PlayStation 4, but it's more than 1,000.
1,000 hours.
Yep.
You know what?
1,000 plus.
It's like 10 cents an hour. It's a deal.
Gustavo, can I ask you a mom question?
Yeah.
Can you potentially rent or borrow any of these games from the local library for free?
I actually don't know, but you gotta.
Will you do me a favor? Will you check into it?
Okay.
Will you check
and return
into
it in 2 weeks?
No, you can't.
Debbie, you're a monster.
This game is like from
it's part
September.
of you.
Yeah. It lasts 1 year.
A full year.
Yeah, you can't do it.
A full year of fun.
Yeah.
Goose, you're fun.
Next, we're going to talk about the shortage of Adderall. I'm not kidding you. That's how our producers stack this show. We're going to go from the cost of gaming to the shortage of Adderall next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Before Dave and Debbie get started each day, this station is all news all morning.
And later today, we follow up on those stories as you drive home.
Get important news all morning and all afternoon.
Here on KSL News Radio.
If you love to follow breaking news like we do, register for breaking news alerts by texting the Cyprus Credit Union KSL text line. Text the word news to 57500.
Imagine it's the last ride, but your symptoms of irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, are taking you for a ride. What should you do? Keep managing your constipation with belly pain the same old way? Or try getting ahead of your symptoms by talking to your doctor about treating it with Linzess, linaclotide. Linzess is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually.
Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling.
Imagine, what could relief from IBS-C mean for you? Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
Life is full of firsts. Your first car, first college class, first trip to the ocean, first house, first child, your first day on the job, and your first day of retirement. As you grow, You First is here for all of your important milestones. Come grow with us. You First can help you take each first step towards growing your life's potential. Learn more about how You First can support you through all of life's firsts at youfirstcu.com. That's youfirstcu.com.
Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning have an exciting offer that's literally going to give you some well-deserved free time. Zero Res has partnered with Unload, Utah's premier valet laundry and dry cleaning service for busy individuals, families, and businesses. And this Monday and Tuesday, they have a special gift for you. Schedule your carpet cleaning right now and get your first 4 rooms of carpet cleaned for just $99 and a free valet laundry service from Unload. Dirt, dust, dander, and allergens don't stand a chance. So if the spring pollen is starting to catch you, or maybe it's just time for a regular cleaning, make the call today. No other company can offer you the same no-residue cleaning, combined with tile, upholstery, and air ducts too. With Zero Res, it truly is a whole home cleaning. Make time for what matters most with Zero Res and Unload. 4 rooms cleaned for $99 and a free service from Unload. Call for details and restrictions. Limited time offer ending on June 6th or after the first 100 customers. For more, visit ZeroRes.com. ZeroRes.com.
Elder abuse often goes unnoticed and unreported, especially when older adults are isolated and lack access to resources. Well, on June 15th from 10 to noon, you're invited to a virtual event hosted by the Utah Department of Health and Human Services and Aging Service Partners. Because June 15th is World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. The focus of this year's conference is working together in collaborative partnership to educate, report, and prevent financial exploitation and other forms of maltreatment against older and vulnerable adults in Utah. You'll hear from a wonderful lineup of notable keynote speakers, including an introduction from Utah's Governor Cox. Please help protect Utah's older and more vulnerable adults, not just on one day, but every day. Attend this virtual event on June 15th from 10 a.m. to noon and find out what you can watch for. Text SENIOR to 57500 to register. That's SENIOR to 57500.
It's only a minute of news. How long could it take? I do a lot of surfing late at night. I'm looking at all my favorite internet sources, Wall Street Journals, New York Times. People throw me ideas, but when I sit down in the morning and it's time to write, it has to resonate with me. I have to have something to say about it. It is my minute of news.
Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News, 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, friends are remembering a couple killed in a road rage incident in Eagle Mountain over the weekend. Second, Salt Lake City police will increase patrols in a downtown neighborhood where there have been several violent incidents over the past couple of weeks. Third, it's another day of nationwide protests and strikes in France over a government decision to raise the retirement age from 62 to 65. And right now, 73 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We grabbed this story from CBS News, but it's certainly one that we've read in many places, that Adderall shortage, leaving some waiting months for refills. We are now 7 months into a shortage for Adderall, which is prescribed to treat ADHD. And folks are often going from pharmacy to pharmacy to find the drug, and they can't find it.
Which, if you're struggling with some of these things, ADHD, can't focus, that's brutal. It's really, really hard. It's already a struggle for a lot of these folks to concentrate, stay focused, and Adderall has been a huge help. It's kind of shocking that we'd run into a shortage in this. What happened?
Aaron Fox, good morning. Associate Chief Pharmacy Officer at U of U Health.
Good morning.
So how long do we expect the shortage to last?
We are seeing some glimmers of hope. We are seeing signs of improvement. I think pharmacies are receiving a little bit more in their orders each week. Part of the struggle with this is, we don't want people to abuse these products. We don't want them misused. And so there's this delicate balance between the drug enforcement agencies and the pharmacies to make sure that, people aren't ordering too much, but at the same time, we've also had a shortage of just the product itself. And so all of those things are really a recipe for disaster for patients, unfortunately.
I think a lot of people may not realize what Adderall even is, a stimulant, amphetamine. What does Adderall do?
Yeah, Adderall is it is a methamphetamine, and so it is very, very good at helping patients with symptoms of ADHD, but it can also be misused. People like to use it for weight loss, to stay awake for maybe a long period, cramming for finals. Those are some of the ways that it can be misused. But it is very effective for patients with ADHD. And I think, that's the balance. FDA recently warned patients not to share their medicine or sell it to other people. You hear stories about younger adults getting pressure from their friends. Hey, you have Adderall. Can I have one? I have a test. I need to stay up tonight. That's not a good use of Adderall.
It's illegal. It's illegal to share prescription meds. Aaron Fox is Associate Chief Pharmacy Officer at the University of Utah Health. So I want to ask you about workarounds. I think the last time we had you on the show, I was telling you about my glaucoma medication, my eye drops I have to put in my eyes every day, multiple times a day, to keep the pressure from pressing in my eye from building up and pressing on my optic nerve, which can lead to blindness. And I've been dealing with this for such a long time. Well, I bumped into a shortage of one of those drops where I went to the pharmacy and they're like, we don't have it and we don't know when we're going to have it. And I thought, well, that's a problem because long term I could have some eyesight issues. Well, my doctor found another medication that combines two drops, Aaron, and I was able to get that, and now I'm back on the road. So what about So I know there can be workarounds for some medications. Just from my experience, is there a workaround for the Adderall shortage if people are still bumping into a problem?
Yeah, there can be. So, a couple pieces of advice. One is, because this is a controlled substance and pharmacies are generally limited in the amount they can order, when patients jump around from pharmacy to pharmacy, that can make it hard for those pharmacies who are used to taking care of their usual patients. And so if you are able to kind of stick with your same pharmacy, but at the same time, be willing to think about talking with your doctor about maybe you could take, 2 pills of a smaller dose to make your current dose. You might also be able to kind of change a formulation. You might be used to using the long-acting. The short-acting might end up working for you. You might have to take it more times a day. And then in some cases, there are alternative medicines that are work in the same way as Adderall, but they're just a little bit different. Unfortunately, a lot of this does require that really good communication back and forth with your physician, and that can be challenging. But I know physicians are also really sensitized to this and trying to work with patients.
We're now 7 months into this Adderall shortage. What are some of the symptoms? Are there withdrawal issues?
I think most of the issues are patients are just not getting the treatment they need. A lot of patients with ADHD, they might take it during the week and then have a holiday on the weekend. So it's not necessarily withdrawal. But I heard you speaking earlier in the segment, and if you have ADHD, you may have trouble keeping organized and shopping around at a bunch of pharmacies and remembering to call and remembering to do things out of your usual routine is not easy. And so I think that also makes it very challenging.
Erin, before we let you go, I don't know if you can debunk this or tell us if there is truth to this. I was watching some videos online about Adderall, and one woman claimed that she takes Adderall and that she had to be tested to make sure it was in her system in order to be re-upped for her next vial or whatever of her next dosage. Do patients who take Adderall, do they regularly get tested to make sure that it is actually in their system so doctors know they're not off selling it?
That's really interesting. That's not something that is routinely done, but
okay.
There might be patients who might have had trouble and might have a contract with their physician that if the physician is worried that they might have been selling it in the past. But that's very unusual. That's not usual practice.
Well, we appreciate you joining us, Erin Fox.
Anytime.
Associate Chief Pharmacy Officer at the University of Utah Health.
Yeah. Have you had any prescription shortage issues since the prescription shortage thing kind of
No. Nothing I've seen so far.
I thought you actually did have some, not prescription, but it was a cough medicine one day. You were running around
that was
for your entire family
NyQuil.
who was sick in bed, and you were the only one who was well enough to go from
I was the only
store
one
to
walking.
store to store. And you had I remember because I said, I will go look for you because I can look in my neighborhood.
I found the final 2 bottles of NyQuil, and I'm telling you, it was bare shelves. It was absolutely bare shelves.
I like the piece of advice that she gave us about asking your doctor for alternatives. I didn't really open up that conversation when my eye drops came up short with my conversation with my doctor for several weeks, and I should have done it sooner. I kept going back to the pharmacy expecting different results, and every time I got there, they're like, nope, we're still out of your eye drop. We're still out of that eye drop. And it was just one, I've taken like an eye drop cocktail. I call it my glaucoma cocktail, where it was just one of the 3 vials of drops that I have to put in my eye. And I wish I would have opened up that dialogue sooner. Once I did, she was able to find, like I said, a combo drop. So now I just have to take 2 drops a day, or more than 2 drops, 2 drops at a time instead of 3. It worked out for the better in the end.
Even better, yeah.
Yeah.
I
and
think
it's cheaper. It was cheaper.
Far too often we ignore that advice. We don't talk to the doctor. We don't talk to the pharmacist.
I learned
and those
my
are
lesson.
2 people you have to coordinate with. I remember my son had a medication, and it was he was pretty young, so he was given a liquid, and it was $800 a month. And we're like, well, that's way too expensive. But we could give it to you in pill form. It's a little higher dose, but that is $3 a month. I'm like, what in the world are you talking about? So we called our doctor. The doctor said, oh, yeah, that totally falls within the range that I can prescribe. It was a little stronger dose. It was a pill. That 3-year-old learned how to take a pill for $3 a month.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen on the KSL News Radio app and in your car at 102.7 FM. KSL News Radio, your all-day companion for news.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Police still looking for whoever shot at a car on I-15 in Layton yesterday. Police say the suspect was riding a black Harley-Davidson motorcycle when they shot at the driver of a car on I-15 near Hillfield Road yesterday. The Highway Patrol, again, still trying to locate that individual. Little computer issue there. I apologize. Family members are mourning two lost loved ones who were killed in a crash that investigators say was caused by road rage. The two individuals, Frank and Michelle Salm, were riding in a Porsche that was hit by a pickup truck, and officers say that was a road rage incident. Other local stories we're working on today at KSL News Radio. A hearing has been set for the Lori Vallow-Daybell appeal, where she's arguing for a new trial. Daybell's attorney says the jury was confused by the court instructions. The claim stems from a juror who gave national interviews after Daybell was convicted in the deaths of her children, JJ and Tylee, as well as Chad Daybell's first wife, Tammy. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Vice President Harris spoke at an event with the Service Employees International Union in Philadelphia. The vice president saying that more needs to be done to strengthen benefits for union workers, particularly those who work in child care, nursing homes, and as home health care workers.
God's work. And it has to be acknowledged in terms of the value to all of society, the value to the entire economy because of that work.
And your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average, down 59 points on the day so far. The NASDAQ, though, is up just 4 points. And coming up, our KSL weather is next. We'll be looking at clouds and more possible thunderstorms this afternoon. KSL News Time, 11:02.
Early mornings can be hard enough, just getting yourself going.
We try to make it a little easier with news and weather from comfortable, trusted anchors and reporters.
Join us on Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9
on KSL News Radio.
Hey, losing weight, it can be a tricky process for a lot of people. It's a big struggle, and we know the challenge with everyone. That's why Soda Weight Loss is so incredible, because it's a program that's based on science. If you follow the program, you will drop those unwanted fat pounds. Guys drop 3 to 5 pounds a week. Women drop 2 to 3 pounds. And it's simply by following the program. It's all about nutrition if you want to drop that weight. And it's healthy. It's specifically designed for you. You're going to work with a nutritionist that will work with you. They've had over 5,000 people on their website who have had tremendous success. I've had tremendous success. Alex has had tremendous success. A lot of people here in our radio group have just done remarkable. And you can too. It's that simple. You're going to have someone you're accountable to, who you check in with, and it's not just about losing it. It's about keeping it off after. It's a lifetime commitment, a lifetime program. You can get healthy, I promise you. Check out sodaweightloss.com.
You know how they always used to ask you in grade school, what do you want to be when you grow up? I bet I'm the only kid who ever stood proud and said, I want to be a rain gutter or siding installer. Jim Jr. here with RGS Exteriors, and man, I can still remember all those wannabe astronauts and quarterbacks looking at me like I was an idiot. Who would want to install rain gutters or siding? Somebody who is a fourth generation in business. That's who. My great-grandfather, T.R. Brown, started the company in the 50s. Then my grandfather took over from him, then my dad, Tim Sr., and now I've been at the helm since 2005. Every day I wake up and think, man, I'm living the dream. And now my own kids are starting to work in the business too. 5 generations. If you want gutters, siding, windows, or any exteriors on your home, and a company that really cares deep down to our souls, give RGS a call. 801-280-3110 or find us online, rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com. 801-280-3110, rgsutah.com.
Traffic and weather together now, brought to you by Granite Credit Union, helping members since 1935. Here's Ricky Meese.
Salt Lake City PD clearing a crash at 2100 South 6th West. And we have an abandoned vehicle on the ramp from I-215's westbound at 2100 North. It looks to be mostly to the right, but use a little bit of caution trying to get around it. Cyprus Credit Union's got you covered. Open a new Visa Platinum card and pay 0% for the first 6 months on all purchases and balance transfers. Learn more at cypruscu.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we're in the same pattern. Sunshine in the morning, clouds and thunderstorms in the afternoon. Right now, though, we've got cloudy skies and looking at 76 degrees right now at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. This is Utah's all-day companion for news.
Dave and Dujanovic have inside sources.
Well, it's the week of presidential campaign announcements. We know Mike Pence filed paperwork expected to announce tomorrow in Iowa. Boyd, shake your head yes if I'm right.
You are correct.
Oh, yeah. Hi, Boyd. Chris Christie, former governor of New Jersey. Keep shaking your head yes. Okay. Expected. There's a lot. There's just a lot in the GOP field, Boyd. I can't keep them all straight. Chris Christie expected to announce today. Has he announced yet?
Tonight. It'll be later tonight.
Okay, tonight. And then we had Nikki Haley, who was part of a CNN town hall last night.
Yeah, this is the second town hall that CNN has conducted. The first one was with the former president, Donald Trump. Now it's Nikki Haley. Kind of interesting, first of all, Debbie, and Boyd, that this was on CNN. You know, typically the Republicans have not found as welcoming a platform on CNN, but that has changed recently.
Yeah, definitely. And you also have Mike Pence will actually be on CNN, similar format, town hall from Iowa tomorrow. So
CNN's under new leadership. I think that might have something to do with it.
It definitely does, and there's that could be a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of happiness in the kingdom there at CNN right now, but we'll save that one for.
So let's talk about Nikki Haley.
We've got a country to save. I am a two-term governor that took a double-digit unemployment state and turned it into an economic powerhouse. I was at the UN. I didn't deal with one country. I dealt with 193. And I took the kick me sign off of our backs. It is time for a new generational leader. It is time for us to leave the baggage of the past, the negativity to the past, and start thinking of our families and the families across America.
I thought she was way on her A game. I think she crushed that whole event. She had strong answers. She had great interactions. Jake Tapper from CNN was the moderator. Also took some questions from the audience. And she was smart. She was articulate. She pushed back. And she delivered a vision of what she would do if she were in the Oval Office.
And these weren't light topics. These weren't easy softball topics. They asked specifically about Ukraine, abortion. But let's start with the border.
When I was governor, I passed one of the toughest illegal immigration laws in the country. We did a mandatory E-Verify program that made businesses prove that the people they hired were here legally. We will do a national E-Verify program. We will defund sanctuary cities once and for all. We will stop giving the hundreds of billions of dollars of handouts to illegal immigrants. We will go back to remain in Mexico because guess what? Nobody wants to remain in Mexico. We will keep the provisions of Title 42, and instead of catch and release, we will go to catch and deport. That is the way we will stop the bleeding on our border. We have to do this.
That's tough talk, Boyd, but I've heard presidents talking tough about the border since I became an adult.
Yeah, and I think one of the interesting things, kind of the subtext of that, you're right, there were some talking points in there for sure. I think one of the ones that was most interesting to me was what she actually did as governor of South Carolina, and put the nation's strongest E-Verify system in place so that businesses could not take advantage of illegal workers. That's a good message that resonates, and it's one that she actually did. And so I think that's an important part of what she was trying to do, is to say, look, we can talk about all these other things. Let me show you what I actually did, and it's actually one that appeals to more moderate voters, definitely to a CNN audience. And the live audience there was Republicans and independents in the room. And so she actually showed something of, hey, this isn't about scare tactics about illegal aliens coming across. Guess what? businesses have a responsibility in this thing too. And as governor, I know how to partner with business and with government to do the things that are going to be best for the community.
And far too often, we give the businesses that use these migrants and these immigrants these jobs, and in many cases, take advantage of this very thing.
Yeah, and so I think that was an interesting juxtaposition of some of the tough talk in terms of catch and deport, to remain in Mexico, some of those kinds of things, with a very let's take on business that, hey, everyone's got a responsibility in this. So I thought it was a really interesting way to tie those two together.
Go ahead, Dave. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to move on to another difficult question about abortion.
Don't let anyone in the media, don't let any political party tell you that a Republican president can ban abortion laws in our country, because they can't any more than a Democrat president can ban our state laws. So what can we do with consensus? That's exactly what it is. We come through with consensus and say, what can we all agree on? I think we can all agree on banning late-term abortions. I think we can all agree on encouraging adoptions and making sure those foster kids feel more love, not less. I think we can agree on doctors and nurses who don't believe in abortion shouldn't have to perform them. I think we can agree on the fact that contraception should be accessible. And I think we can all come together and say any woman that has an abortion shouldn't be jailed or given the death penalty. Can't we start there?
I appreciate how she phrased that. I think we can all agree on.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on. So often on the campaign trail, what I hear is rhetoric about like why we disagree.
Right.
How we can't all get on, what the other side feels or what this side feels.
Yeah.
But in this case, I think she framed that in a way that it's like, that gives me something I can actually think about.
Yeah, and I think that was what the brilliant part of her strategy in that town hall on Sunday night on CNN was that she always started from points of agreement, not the points of disagreement. And even on a very tricky issue like abortion, she can say, late-term abortions, I think the American people all agree on that, and we can agree on that. I think we need to have access to the right kind of health care. We can all agree on that. And I think framing it that way was really interesting. And I think it's part of her growing up. She talked a lot about her growing up and being different, of Indian immigrants, and how she was different, but how her mom always said, hey, focus on the similarities, focus on the things where you can come together with people, not just the differences. And I think she actually demonstrated that in so many of her answers over the course of that town hall. Again, even some of those that are kind of the white hot, culture war kind of things like abortion, I thought she navigated that in a pretty interesting way.
Abortion is one of the most difficult things to talk about because for so many years there was no conversation. It was pro-life, pro-choice. Those were your two options. And now, since Roe v. Wade was done away with, it's created different conversations, in more nuanced conversations where we're not able to just retreat to our corners of either or.
Right. Yeah. And I thought that was an interesting thing that Nikki Haley did, is that if you go back to Roe, the standard was that up to 24, 26 weeks, somewhere in that space. That was the law under Roe. But most people don't even think of it in that. It's the either or.
Yeah.
And so by reframing it and saying, well, I think we can all agree on late-term abortions at 36 weeks, 37 weeks. And so I thought that was just an interesting way to have a different kind of conversation on a pretty tough subject.
Still polling far below former President Trump's numbers. Does she have a shot, in your view?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, this is not about polling. Polling is not about polling. It's about process, and it's getting people on the ground. I think her biggest challenge is not where she is in the polls. Her biggest challenge is, can she garner the support and the funding she needs to have an operation to take the message that you heard on CNN on Sunday night to more people? That's really the test for most of these candidates. The polls are only indicative of those who want to look at it and say, okay, I'll invest in that as a donor. So that's the only time that polls really matter early. Again, go back, Barack Obama, 42 points down. John McCain, 37 points down. You had all of these elections that were supposed to be coronations of Clintons or Bushes, and they just never materialized because it wasn't about the polls. It was about the process. Boots on the ground, knocking doors, taking your message to the people. And Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina, they want to shake your hand. They want to look you in the eye. They're going to ask you that question 3 times just to make sure you're giving them the straight answer. And so it's very much a process. So I think Nikki Haley has a lane. I don't think she's fully made her case in terms of how she would lead, but I think her performance on Sunday showcased what she could do if she caught lightning in a bottle. That's always what you're trying to do as a presidential candidate.
Boyd Matheson, thank you. Inside Sources today from 1 to 3.
Next, let's examine a story that was making the rounds this morning on Utah's Morning News. ABC News reporting that prosecutors in California threatening kidnapping charges as political leaders in other states fly migrants to states across the nation. Let's ask former U.S. Attorney for Utah, John Huber, who actually prosecuted kidnappings here in Utah, if prosecutors in California really have the evidence to show that this is kidnapping. Next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Hey, stay right here for more of Dave and Dujanovic.
And tomorrow morning, come back here for news, traffic updates, and reliable weather.
Join us to have a listen. Tim and Amanda.
Your morning companions for news.
Right on cue for summer.
OPEC plans to cut oil production.
Gas prices are headed up.
It could drive up prices for other goods.
Whether you're planning a staycation or a day trip, start your summer here. Get updates on traffic out of town, gas prices, and everything you need to know. Listen each day this summer, mornings and afternoons, to KSL News Radio.
You know, in Box Elder County, they're all about the bucket list. Want to go birding at the premier birding destination in the western United States? Well, check off the Bear River Migratory Bird Refuge. How about land art? The spiral jetty and sun tunnels will leave you inspired. Or stand on the spot where the Union and Central Pacific Railroads joined and forged the destiny of a nation. Yep, Golden Spike National Historical Park is like no other place. Check. Splash, boat, camp, or fish your day away? Willard Bay State Park will guarantee a good time. Soak in a natural hot spring with the highest mineral content in the world? That would be Crystal Hot Springs. You'll feel rejuvenated. Eat at Utah's original steakhouse. Maddox Ranch House is perfection. Check. A 1920s diner. The Idle Owl Cafe will transport you back in time. As you empty your Box Elder County bucket list, you'll find a whole new set of adventures to fill it up again. Fill up your bucket list at visitboxeldercounty.com.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep, switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
I'm Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I learned about atrial fibrillation the hard way. My symptoms would come and go. Shortness of breath, fatigue. I kept going. Then I got so lightheaded, I couldn't. My doctor said I have AFib, so I'm about 5 times more likely to have a stroke. Other symptoms, irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain can come and go, but the risk of stroke stays. If you have symptoms, tell a doctor. Visit notimetowait.com.
Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Here's a question. Do you wear dentures? At Grandpa's Dental, you can trade in your floppy dentures and get $2,000 towards an implant-supported solution. You know, they say the older you get, the more you need your teeth. Well, chewing your food isn't a luxury. And taking a bite out of a nice, juicy steak, well, it takes teeth. At Grandpa's Dental, they have over 10,000 restorations under their belt, and it's always affordable. When you walk into one of their 3 locations, you're family, period. At Grandpa's Dental, they live their family legacy by building lasting relationships through state-of-the-art services. So if you want to stop the flop and actually eat foods you can chew, trade in your dentures at Grandpa's Dental for $2,000 toward your implant solution. Schedule your free consultation at grandpasdental.com today. That's grandpasdental.com.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. But right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
Any Hour Services can help unclog any drain in your house, whether you have a backup, a clog, or a slow drain you want fixed. Call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bonas. First, Salt Lake City police say somebody knows who shot a 22-year-old man on a downtown street. They're asking for help with that case. Second, a court in Idaho is planning to hear arguments on Lori Vallow Daybell's appeal of her murder conviction. Third, the Biden administration trying to show its support for union workers, including those who take care of seniors and disabled people. And right now, 76 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Heard this story reported on Utah's Morning News this morning. And in a moment, we'll ask former U.S. Attorney for Utah, John Huber, if California prosecutors really have a leg to stand on when it comes to criminal charges.
California is a state that deals with undocumented immigrants every day. State leaders are claiming this isn't about handling several dozen migrants, and this is about California not being given a heads up to be ready for their arrival, and the migrants were allegedly told when they came to California there would be jobs on the other end. That was a lie, says California Attorney General Rob Bonta, who says possible charges against those who are orchestrating the flights could be
false imprisonment and kidnapping.
On Monday, Governor Gavin Newsom tweeted out indicating Governor Ron DeSantis could be charged with kidnapping.
The battle of the governors. You see a lot of these southern border towns, and whether it's Florida or Texas, Arizona, wanting to make sure that the rest of the 47 other states experience something when we're talking about the border crisis. Because most of us, we just live too far away to really understand what's going on. But you grew up, or you worked in Yuma, for example.
Right next to El Centro, California. In fact, we covered a lot of news in El Centro, which was not too far from Calexico. Which is in Mexico. And so somebody on our text line did point out that many parts of California have the wall there, the border wall. So in essence, they, according to the listener, they have some sort of an advantage to, make sure to kind of keep the numbers of illegal immigrants down where other states don't have that. But that argument doesn't necessarily make sense to me, because what's happening is that in this case is that governors in Republican states are accused of sending migrants via bus, via plane, with the promise of jobs and shelter when they get there, to not so Republican states, to Democratic states. The question at hand right now is whether California has enough evidence there to actually prosecute, or is this just like political blustering? Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning, Debbie and Dave. I think political blustering is what you got going on here. You have this posturing on both sides of the issue. It's a pretty aggressive move to fly 32 or a couple dozen immigrants from Texas to Sacramento, the capital of the bluest state in the union. I guess maybe New York would have an issue with that. And then it's a pretty aggressive response for the governor and the attorney general to elected officials to use the word kidnapping in the same sentence or paragraph as references to a governor in another state. Those are pretty aggressive moves. So this is an important issue, and it's an important issue to, make hay over. But I think as constituents, we're hopeful that this blustering, as you call it, would somehow translate into substantive discussions and policymakers making progress on this issue that is really a big problematic issue for the whole country right now.
Well, when you use the words like kidnapping, what was the other term, Debbie? Was false imprisonment?
False imprisonment.
Yeah. Okay, so how do they get from point A to Q?
Well, I think what I wonder is define what kidnapping is, John. John Huber is a former U.S. attorney for the state of Utah. So you worked on kidnapping cases. In fact, the one we know, we all know of is the Elizabeth Smart kidnapping, and got the conviction of her kidnapper, Brian David Mitchell. But what is it? Is it enticing people with the offer of a job and shelter on the other side of that flight for them to get on that plane? Does that qualify?
Look, I think it's really a stretch for them to say they've got a kidnapping case. And then they quickly back off of it and say, well, everything's on the table. We're going to look at everything. So that's what makes it sound more like posturing, because us as Americans, when we think kidnapping, we think of Elizabeth Smart, where you're using force and violence and intimidation to exert your will over another person and deny them their freedom of movement. And even in a case like a tragic case of the Smart kidnapping, that's still a very challenging case for a prosecutor to bring. It's not a guarantee that you're going to win that case. Now take that common law view of a common understanding of what kidnapping looks like for most of us, and then start putting in these nuances and wrinkles of, promises. Were they made? Were they not? They're delivered safely. There's probably consent forms involved and voluntary issues. And that doesn't sound like kidnapping. So I think if a California prosecutor had the chutzpah to bring a case against the governor or other government officials or someone lower in the chain, I don't think that charge is going to last long in open court. I really don't.
Is there any chance that an attorney general from California could try to arrest a governor from Florida?
Look, you said from A to Q, Dave. That's what you're describing there as well. That's far into an imaginary future. I just don't think we're going to get there, but that would be quite.
Did you say far into an imaginary future?
I think that's a direct quote, yes.
I love it.
We do some crazy stuff in American politics, though. It just takes one crazy person to do a crazy thing, and we get to Q.
I agree, and I think flying people to California is pretty aggressive, and I think the response of a kidnapping threat those are pretty crazy things. We all hope that, hey, can we get past the craziness and we actually get to a debate on the Senate or House of Representatives floor and make some progress on this?
Yeah, John, I thank you.
Well, that sounds reasonable.
Thank you for joining us. John Huber, former U.S. Attorney for the District of Utah, just laying out for us the story behind the story, and that is that he does not think that prosecutors would make it very far with the charge of kidnapping against political figures, political leaders for busing or flying people to other states who are trying to migrate into the U.S.
But they totally accomplished what they wanted to, which is what we focused on was kidnapping.
Well, look.
Because it's a shocking term.
Time out. We can either let that float along out there for people talking about that in terms of whether or not they have it, or we can answer the question directly, and we did with the help of an expert who's worked actual kidnapping cases before. So, if it's news, we talk about it. It's been in the news cycle since
their word, not ours,
morning.
Deb. I'm not. We're fine where we're at. We can talk about it for days. They're the ones that said wrongful imprisonment and kidnapping.
How long has this been going on?
It's been months and months
They've
now.
Been sending
since
people
the
via
winter.
bus, via plane. Remember, it kind of all started with Martha's Vineyard when immigrants got dropped off there. And then some of them were also sent to
directly to Kamala Harris's house.
Vice President of the United States. What progress has been made? We have to ask ourselves what progress has been made at the border to simplify the system, to cut back on the number of people who are racing toward the border to get through. Because the last time we talked about this, the United States had just rolled back Title 42, which made it easier, if you will, for Border Patrol to send people back to whatever country they were trying to immigrate from because of COVID. So Title 42 went into effect under President Trump, and then it rolled back under President Biden. But I don't know that we've made any massive changes.
Have we made progress? And Debbie, I'm looking at the numbers right now. I'm looking at the Border Patrol website, and in April there were 211,000 migrant encounters, which is more than was in March, in February, in January. 211 last month.
We're still waiting on May.
211,000.
We're still waiting on May's.
Yep.
You know what? We've done a good job of taking our listeners to the border for live coverage over the last couple of months. Let's make sure we check in down at the border in the next couple of days from a reporter down there to find out what it looks like and what's going on.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. A couple of kayakers were rescued on the Great Salt Lake after their boats started deflating. A state parks officer found them without life jackets about a mile from shore. This could happen more frequently now. Devin Chavez of the Utah Division of State Parks says today marks the beginning of sailing season. Smaller boats were hitting the water a month ago.
Now it's time for those bigger sailboats that people are used to driving by the marina to see. We'll be putting in about 35 of them today, so only 4 of them will be remaining out, and those are the really big ones.
Runoff has raised the Great Salt Lake water level at least 4 or 5 feet since a historic low last November. Hogle Zoo has welcomed a brand new baby male zebra this weekend. The 98-pound foal will be named through a public online event next Monday. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Microsoft has been ordered to pay a $20 million fine for violating child privacy laws. ABC's Ariel Reshef says the Federal Trade Commission is targeting the data collection on the Xbox gaming platform.
To use the system, people have to register with their name, their email address, and the age. If it is a child younger than 13, a parent has to complete the registration. But according to the FTC, Microsoft was keeping the information even if parents did not complete that process.
And your money at this moment. The Dow Jones average down 59 points on the day right now. The NASDAQ, though, is up 32. And our KSL weather, we've got clouds this morning and possibly a thunderstorm this afternoon. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:31.
What do you need to hear in the morning to feel ready for the day?
Important news that happened overnight, the traffic you'll hit on the roads.
You'll be ready for your day with us.
Join Utah's Morning News 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Picture this, a warm summer evening, the sun setting behind the mountains, blankets being laid out on the cool grass, and world-class music. It's the Utah Symphony's Deer Valley Music Festival, and you're invited to escape into the music. With 12 concerts at Snow Park Amphitheater featuring country pop sensation Leanne Rimes, the movie music of John Williams, alt-rocker Ben Folds, and the Beach Boys. Tickets are on sale now at DeerValleyMusicFestival.org. The sun is hanging in the sky ready to set. Blankets are spreading out across the cool grass. A slight mountain breeze can be felt as picnic baskets begin to open. It's the Utah Symphony's Deer Valley Music Festival, and you're invited to escape into the music. With 12 amazing concerts at Snow Park Amphitheater featuring hit headliner artists and everything from classical to classic rock, there's something just for you. Tickets are on sale now and going fast at DeerValleyMusicFestival.org.
It's game time, and you're in the locker room ready to take the field. Suddenly, you notice a player you don't recognize. He's wearing your team's jersey and he even knows your name, but you've never seen him before until now. Would you trust this stranger with your team's playbook? Because that's exactly how phishing scams work. The first quarter of 2022 saw the highest volume of phishing attacks ever recorded. Protect your business with the Les Olson Security Suite from Les Olson IT. Learn more about it at lesolson.com.
Are you looking to buy a home this summer? Do you feel stuck saving up for a big down payment? For a limited time, Mortgage Mike and City Creek Mortgage are offering up to a $4,000 down payment grant. Give Mortgage Mike and City Creek Mortgage a call at 801-900-HOME today to hear more about their $4,000 down payment grant. Some terms and conditions apply, so make sure and give them a call and get started before this grant goes away. City Creek Mortgage is an equal housing lender, NMLS 85855 79053. Zero Res Carpet and Air Duct Cleaning have an exciting offer that's literally going to give you some well-deserved free time. Zero Res is partnered with Unload, Utah's premier valet laundry and dry cleaning service for busy individuals, families, and businesses. And this Monday and Tuesday, they have a special gift for you. Schedule your carpet cleaning right now and get your first 4 rooms of carpet cleaned for just $99 and a free valet laundry service from Unload. Dirt, dust, dander, and allergens don't stand a chance. So if the spring pollen is starting to catch you, or maybe it's just time for a regular cleaning, make the call today. No other company can offer you the same no-residue cleaning, combined with tile, upholstery, and air ducts too. With Zero Res, it truly is a whole home cleaning. Make time for what matters most with Zero Res and Unload. 4 rooms cleaned for $99 and a free service from Unload. Call for details and restrictions. Limited time offer ending on June 6th or after the first 100 customers. For more, visit ZeroRes.com. ZeroRes.com.
Get updates on Jazz and BYU news and score updates. Text Jazz or BYU at the Cypress Credit Union KSL text line. 57500.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Granite Credit Union, helping members since 1935. Here's Ricky Meese.
Construction delays again today in Summit County on Highway 40, traveling to the I-80 junction at Silver Summit. Here in the valley, we have a crash with possible injuries in West Jordan Mountain View corridor at 90th South. Make Father's Day easy and get the best gift ever, a blanket or robe from Minky Couture. Shop online at minkycouture.com or any Minky store. Best gift ever, Minky Couture. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, we're in the same pattern. Sunshine in the morning, clouds and thunderstorms in the afternoon. This morning, we're mostly cloudy, though, and 78 degrees at KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com. This is Utah's all-day companion for news.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Earlier this year, you probably remember how we reported on that just heartbreaking story of murder-suicide in Enoch, Utah. Father, husband, Michael Haight, shot and killed his entire family before using the gun on himself. A total of 8 people dead, including his mother-in-law. You referred to it as...
total family annihilation. There's a term for it.
Yeah.
It's horrific as it is. It's common enough that it has a name. Total family annihilation.
Deseret News reporter Kyle Dunphy has viewed and listened to video footage, published a story at Deseret.com, and he's joining us live in studio right now to talk about what the video shows, how it was recorded, who recorded it, and maybe what it tells us about what was going on inside the home and also inside the head of Michael. Good morning, Kyle.
Morning. Yeah.
Wow.
This isn't of the crime. This is a video that was recorded beforehand.
Yeah, so these are 7 videos. They add up to about 72 minutes, and they were taken on January 3rd over the course of the day. So there's some videos that were taken earlier in the morning. It sounds like the kids are maybe getting ready for school.
Important to note here that January 3rd is the day before the shootings happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So and some of these videos are taken at night, like presumably like 6 hours before the shooting, 7 hours before the shooting. So giving us this really detailed window kind of into the home and the hours leading up to that.
Who took the video? How was it captured? And is it video or just audio that you can hear?
So they're all videos. Most of them, it looks like his phone is maybe in his lap.
So it's Michael?
It's Michael. Michael took the videos. It's unclear if maybe Tasha knew she was being recorded. Like in one video, he does tell her that he's recording. The others,
and that's his wife,
and
obviously.
that's his wife. Yep. in other videos, it looks maybe more like he's secretly recording them. I mean, we don't know why he would film this. He makes several references to other recordings they took, so maybe it has something to do with divorce proceedings. But I spoke with some folks at the Utah Domestic Violence Coalition, and they said, one of the most powerful tools a perpetrator has is trying to create this narrative for family and friends that the victim is unreasonable, that it's the victim's fault, or even just fabricating some allegations, which you do hear in the videos.
In the videos, you hear his voice? Do you hear her voice? What's the interaction like?
Yeah, so
is it contentious?
Yeah, absolutely. The bulk of the videos, it's between Michael and Tasha Haight, and they're essentially hashing out specifics of the divorce. And Michael does a lot of the talking, and he kind of goes between this really like intense fixation on how much child support and alimony he's going to pay, and essentially pleading with Tasha to reconsider. It's almost like he doesn't really understand like the fact that she's filing for divorce. He's kind of begging her in some instances to stay. And what's really striking to me, and I spoke with some of the folks at Domestic Violence Coalition about this, is that he doesn't come across as violent in the video, right? So there's clear examples of this controlling behavior and an attempt to set the narrative. But, if you don't know the context around the family, it might not sound like anything other than just an ugly divorce. And we know that 5 days earlier he had been Googling things like, can neighbors hear a gunshot in the garage? So there was definitely some premeditation going on here. And I think that feeds into the idea that he was manipulative. And even though, in the recording doesn't come across as violent, he clearly is. Like, we know what happened.
Kyle Dunphy of the Deseret News has viewed video recordings taken by Michael Haight. He is the father, the husband who gunned down his entire family, killed them in Enoch earlier this year. Of course, this made national news. I know you're still continuing to follow this, and you were able to get, you said 72 hours, or 72 minutes, 72 minutes of footage taken on his cell phone. Is that correct, Kyle?
Yep.
And the timeline of this is, we now know through your research, through police investigations, that Michael had Googled information about hearing gunshots in a garage or inside a home, and then days later he's sitting down or with his wife Tasha having this discussion about the divorce, which he's recording, and he sounds somewhat pleasant, or like he's the victim.
Yeah, I mean they're contentious conversations, but
he doesn't lose his he isn't angry.
No, and he doesn't come across as particularly angry. In fact, it's almost like he's trying to paint himself as the victim. There's a lot of instances where he's like really tearful, and kind of explaining how it's been really hard for him the last couple months. He's had trouble with his job. He's been under a lot of pressure, and really just again leaning into this idea that he's the victim. He's at one chance he's saying, I'm pleading with you. I'm trying to take care of my family. I know I hurt your feelings, and I feel horrible about it. I'll go to 20 counselors if I need to. So, and then we know what happened
the next
literally
day.
Hours later. So it's again this clear example of kind of manipulation.
He also murdered his mother-in-law, who was also present. Was she involved, or was she part of any of these conversations on these videos?
Nope. You see her in one instance, and it's really actually one of the only instances where you see a person in the video. Like I said, most of this is taken kind of from his lap, whether it's secret or just kind of for his lawyers. But no, she's present for most of the video. I would assume, police say that she had moved in with the family to kind of help them with this divorce, so I'd assume that's part of it. But no, she doesn't really speak up or anything like that.
Kyle, the headline on your article in the Deseret News says, "I am not safe with you. Home video shows pattern of control and manipulation hours before Enoch murder-suicide." Who said, "I am not safe with you"?
So that was Tasha, and there's this one instance where she recalls driving to a Thanksgiving event, and she basically didn't feel safe with him and wanted to take another car, and he really pushed back on this. She goes, those are deal breakers for me. You've shown me that I'm not safe with you, that you choose my safety, or that you don't choose my safety or concerns. You show that you don't even care, and that's kind of one of the most clear, like explicit examples in these recordings of her, saying that I don't feel safe.
Was there any sense of what she was talking about? Physical safety, driving intoxicated, something along those lines? Why was she not feeling safe? Or
she doesn't say anything like any particular instances. She does later in the recordings refer to, essentially tell Michael that they don't feel. Everyone feels on edge when he's in the house. They're walking on eggshells. They can't relax. It's just a tense environment. But for the most part, it's pretty ambiguous. She's not referring to particular instances. Now, we do know from some reporting, we've obtained a lot of records around this family, and we do know there are specific instances where he was investigated for abuse. He in one instance choked his daughter. So we know, we can kind of piece together what happened. Yeah. But in these recordings, she doesn't actually refer to anything.
Are the kids at any point seen or heard in any of the recordings that Michael Haight was taking at the time?
Yeah. That's one of the kind of really the worst parts about this is, at one point you can't even really hear the conversation between the two adults because the kids are so loud in the background. Because some of the kids come barging in. She has to, one of the videos stops so she can go put the kids to bed. So their family life is really clear in the video. Like, I was in Enoch the next day, and there's, it was snowing in Enoch, and so he's talking about how he's gonna go sledding with his kids the next day. So, again, you listen to these videos, and it really just sounds like a regular family life. And I sound like a broken record here, but it's just clear examples of this manipulation and trying to kind of set the record straight.
Kyle Dunphy, thank you for the reporting. The videos are not released to the public.
They are not. No, we're kind of having that conversation right now. It's that decision of whether we want to be, what's the news value? Do we want to be voyeurs? Is there a lesson to be learned here? I think there is a lesson to be learned here, but as of now, the videos are not published.
But you've seen them, you obtained them from police records. Is that how you got them?
Correct. Yeah, they were taken off of his phone, and there was a number of
part
pictures
of the investigation.
Too. Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of pictures. There's like 5 or 6 pictures of his gun safe, and these are all taken and recorded on January 3rd.
The day before the murders.
The day before the murders.
On his phone.
Yep, on his phone.
Kyle, are you going to follow up in your report for the Deseret News with domestic violence experts in that area?
Yeah. That's we want to just kind of, like I said earlier, we want to kind of piece out some lessons here, and go kind of. We don't want this to be shock value, right? So I'm hoping, I have some calls lined up later in the day, okay. and I'll have a story coming soon that kind of looks at this from the point of view of some experts. And if I could just plug right now the Utah Domestic Violence Coalition's hotline, it's 1-800-799-7233.
Kyle Dunphy, thank you for joining us from the Deseret News.
And promise you'll come back once you publish your next article with what you're able to learn from those who are therapists in the field.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, Kyle.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Did you know Utah has just one all-new station in the morning?
It's this one, weekday mornings between 5 and 9.
Start your days with us. We're Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
Your morning companions for news.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. R Plus Energies is a renewable energy development company based in Salt Lake City and has been instrumental in opening Utah's market for utility-scale solar development. President Luigi Resta shares more on how they are helping meet the demands of the modern energy transition.
Founded 4.5 years ago, R Plus Energies develops utility-scale solar, wind, and solar plus battery projects, and through a partnership known as R Plus Hydro, develops long-duration energy storage using pump storage hydro. In Utah alone, we have 8 large-scale projects under development, construction, or now in operation. Working closely with local stakeholders and landowners and county officials, R Plus developed Graphite Solar, which is operating in Carbon County, and are currently under construction on Appaloosa Solar in Iron County. These Utah-based projects denote more than a $2 billion investment in our economy and continue Utah's energy legacy. R Plus values partnering with electrical utilities and corporate customers as we strive to support them in achieving their energy goals by accessing the best mix of renewable resources and energy storage to enable a resilient, reliable, and affordable power supply.
R Plus Energies develops large-scale modern power plants to contribute to the rebuilding building of America's energy infrastructure. Prior to the formation of R+, its executives were instrumental in developing Utah's first utility-scale solar plant in 2015. For more information, visit the R+ Energies website. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Everything's changing so fast these days, and that's a great thing. Back in my day, we were lucky to get one video to load on a desktop computer, but now there's the Xfinity 10G network. That means the fastest internet with faster speeds rolling out every day, and internet that can power a house full of devices with ultra-low lag. So while one person streams a movie from their room, another can play video games in the basement, while another TikToks in the kitchen. It's the next generation 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Through July 21st, new customers can get started with gig internet on the Xfinity 10G network. Plus, get Xfi Complete with unlimited data and Wi-Fi equipment included, all for just $30 a month for 2 years with no annual contract when you add Xfinity Mobile with unlimited data. Go to xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service and devices. Gig Wi-Fi requires gig internet and Xfi Gateway. Actual speeds vary.
If you're hiring, it can feel like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. Like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Now try ZipRecruiter free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/FREE.
At aimyourdigital.com, we'll help you target the right audience, build your leads, and crush your quota. Take your business to the next level. Our digital marketing strategies help grow awareness of your product or service, all while building trust in your business. Our approach involves leveraging multiple tools and strategies to deliver exceptional results that are customized to your unique business needs. Don't wait to run out of sales leads. Keep your business growing. Get started with aimyourdigital.com today.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending the Ooma cloud phone system with auto attendant and more than 50 features.
Ooma?
Yep, switching to Ooma is a cinch. Just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Find small business calm at ooma.com/radio. That's OOMA.com/radio.
Wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a couple of kayakers rescued from the Great Salt Lake last night. Second, Hogle Zoo has a brand new baby zebra. Third, Microsoft will have to pay a big fine for keeping kids' data from the Xbox gaming platform. Right now, 78 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Summer water safety. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and I making a commitment to keep you safe around water. Over the next several weeks, we'll be broadcasting live starting this Thursday. And we launched our coverage with this harrowing tale of Oliver the Chocolate Lab. His owner, Travis, called the show earlier today. Oliver's been missing since early May, where Travis feels like Oliver just went into the water at Tanner Park, which is a super popular dog park on the east side of Salt Lake County.
Unfortunately, he is still missing. Like you said, I lost him in Tanner Park almost exactly a month ago. And I don't know what happened. He got swept away in the river, and I haven't seen him since. And I've been looking everywhere, and I cannot find him.
Yeah, you could tell as we had that conversation with Travis that it was just devastating to lose his friend, his animal that he loved. But it reminds me, and we are going to be doing a live show of the David Dujanovic show on Thursday. And we're going to be at the Ogden Kayak Park. And it's sponsored by the Utah Division of Outdoor Recreation. And one of the things they wanted to remind folks is reach or throw, don't go. When you're close to that water, that fast-moving water, and something goes in, whether it's an animal or even a person, reach or throw something. Do not follow them in, because you and I have both done stories, Debbie, where people have gone in and
Tanner Park,
drowned. Yeah.
2017, a woman went in after her dogs into the creek there, and she drowned. She drowned despite people's best efforts. I think we reported her husband was there trying to help. People who were in the area who witnessed it jumped in to help. They got her out, but they could not save her life. Wade Matthews, Be Ready Utah, the Division of Emergency Management. Thank you so much for stopping by the studio on this day where we're talking about water safety. It feels like hopefully the flooding issues are behind us, hopefully, but the water, and there's so much water, and these rivers are flowing so fast, and these lakes are so deep, Wade.
Absolutely, and yes, we do hope that we're getting out of the woods, so to speak, when it comes to the flooding risk of actually flooding damage and overflowing banks and damaging infrastructure and homes and that type of thing. We think mid-June we should see the worst of that. Will be over by then. But that doesn't mean, yes, we're still going to have a lot of high, fast-moving rivers and streams. The reservoirs and lakes are going to be full, and people love to get out and recreate in that type of stuff. And even in drought seasons, water is still dangerous. Water is always dangerous if you're not prepared.
Mm-hmm. I think about how much work we've done, and I really think the Be Ready campaign has been so useful because I think it puts us in a mindset. Before we even had the runoff, we were preparing, we were filling sandbags. And what do we do once the immediate threat has passed?
The immediate threat of flooding.
Yeah, of flooding so maybe that we're very good at dealing with something acute. Right, we can say, we've had a huge snow season.
Okay.
But how do we make sure that it's not just, the big snow season?
It still comes down to awareness, being aware of your surroundings, being aware of your capabilities, being aware of your resources. When you're recreating, when you're in the water, it's being aware of how to rescue somebody. You just talked about that great example of the phrase there. Another one, turn around, don't drown. We love to use that to encourage people don't cross fast-moving rivers and streams. Being aware of those things.
I also like the tip we learned last time we were out at the side of Big Cottonwood Creek, safe distance away from a very rushing creek, and that was designate a water watcher in your group to actually watch the activities of what's going on, who isn't part of the activities but can stay aware from the shoreline where people are out boating, if people are out on paddle boards, in your family. I love that piece of advice. I also always tell people it takes seconds to put on a life jacket, and it takes days to go into the water and find your body if you're not wearing one. We had an example. Thankfully, it ended okay for those two kayakers on the Great Salt Lake. My understanding is they went out in an inflatable kayak. Things did not go so well, and rescuers told us that they were not. They did not have access to life jackets. I don't know if they didn't bring them with them, if they fell off the boat or what. But the thing is, you got to wear them. You never know when those waters are going to shift. Those waters are cold. You just don't know when something is going to happen. And I see so many paddleboarders where I paddleboard, Wade, who don't have life jackets on, and I just think, put your life jacket on.
Right. I wonder if there's a stigma. Like, I'm too cool
Yep,
for that life
absolutely
jacket.
a
I don't
stigma.
need that life jacket. I can swim. I'm a powerful swimmer. There's lots of powerful swimmers that get overtaken, and cannot save themselves.
I saw a paddleboarder with a dog on the paddleboard and no life jacket on. And I thought, we love our pets. We want them with us at all times. That is not the place to have them on. And if that dog goes in the water, it is so cold, that dog will take her under as well.
Yeah, exactly. Even if dogs are strong swimmers, they can be overwhelmed. Yeah.
It does remind me, Debbie, of Utah Lake. They actually have a life jacket loaner program. Right. So even if you don't own one, They have several life jackets available for people to use.
Well, we'll be talking more about where you can pick up a free loaner life jacket in Utah if you're going out for the day on Thursday. Also, like, how expensive are they to buy? Well, what's the price of your life, right? Your life is priceless. So if a life jacket costs you $40, I think I saw them at a big box store for $40, Wade. I mean,
it's definitely worth the price when you think about the cost of a loved one, loss of a loved one.
Wade Matthews, thank you for joining us. BeReady.utah.gov. Great resource.
Maria's back? No, Maria's not back yet. Okay, Britt's in. Britt's in for Maria next.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen on the KSL News Radio app and in your car at 102.7 FM. KSL News Radio, your all-day companion for news.
Good afternoon, KSL News Time, 12 o'clock. This is Utah's Noon News. I'm Britt Johnson in for Maria Chaleos today. KSL's top story this hour. Sailors are getting their boats back out on the Great Salt Lake for the first time in nearly a year. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
Today, a giant crane soared above the Great Salt Lake State Park to begin hoisting sailboats back into the marina for the first time since it was shut down last year due to low water levels. Chase Birch is excited to get his boat back out on the lake.
A lot of people out here kind of thought the dream had died, and so it's a really pleasant surprise.
Kim Wells with the Department of Natural Resources says the lake has risen about 5 feet since hitting its lowest level on record in November, but it's going to take a lot more than one big winter to refill the lake and keep those boats on the water.
Mother Nature has really done her part this year, so we need to continue to do ours to maximize this water and save it for a not so rainy day in the future.
Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
Salt Lake City police are investigating after a motorcycle rider died in a crash last night. Police say 56-year-old Theodore Butcher died on the scene after getting hit by a car last night. The early police investigation suggests a Tesla made a U-turn, cut in front of the biker, and hit him. Police say the driver is cooperating with the investigation. New developments on a houseboat fire at Lake Powell. Investigators say the fire started on one boat and then spread to several others. Nobody was seriously hurt, and a few people were treated for smoke inhalations. Officials are urging extreme caution in that marina. Areas of the marina are closed off while the investigation continues. Residents and businesses in Sandy could see their property taxes go up by 32%. Mayor Monica Zelansky says the city can't keep emergency personnel without higher wages.
I was facing a massive hemorrhaging of fire safety personnel. They were leaving for other agencies and they were paying more, that offered better career track